Hello everyone, welcome to What If Naruto Was in Yu-Gi-Oh! Part 2. Before we start, please go support marioiale for writing that awesome fanfic. This is the translated version I made. There will be some mistake in character's gender, but of course Naruto is a male. Chapter 8. It's been a week since the tag team duel between Naruto and Judai versus the Paradox Brothers. During the week, Naruto and his friends played sports. The first sport they played was baseball with RA Yellow versus Slifer Red. But since the Slifer team was a few players short, Naruto and Judai decided to play for their old dorm. It was Judai's turn to bat, but the pitcher switched out for Bastion. Bastion threw the ball and Judai swung and hit a home run, only for the ball to hit Dr. Growler, who looked as pale as a ghost, probably still thinking about the tongue he got from Chancellor Shepard after the duel. After talking to Bastion about his promotion to Obelisk Blue, he warned Chaz that if he didn't win his duel with Bastion, he would be demoted to RA Yellow, something he didn't want. So when he found out that Bastion moved all of his furniture out of his room because of the painting, he stole Bastion's deck and threw it into the ocean, hoping to avoid a duel with the dueling young mathematician, only to find out that Bastion had multiple decks which impressed everyone, especially Naruto. As he too had multiple decks to work with, meaning learning all of the strategies for each deck without any confusion if the decks were similar. Anyway, Bastion won his duel, but turned down Growler's offer to join the Obelisk dorm, saying that he wanted to beat Naruto and Judai before even considering a promotion. Only to learn that Bastion had multiple decks which impressed everyone, especially Naruto, as he too had multiple decks to work with, meaning learning all of the strategies for each deck without any confusion if the decks were similar. Anyway, Bastion won his duel, but turned down Growler's offer to join the Obelisk dorm, saying that he wanted to beat Naruto and Judai before even considering a promotion, only to learn that Bastion had multiple decks which impressed everyone, especially Naruto, as he too had multiple decks to work with, meaning learning all the strategies for every deck without confusion if the decks were similar. Regardless, Bastion won his duel but turned down Growler's offer to join Obelisk dorm, saying that he wanted to beat Naruto and Judai before even considering a promotion. The next day was a break from sports, but Naruto and his friends learned that Chaz was missing. Naruto and Judai didn't seem too bothered by it since they didn't like the boy, but Alexis goaded the two into it, and even promised them something special for the evening now that he's got her attention. Anyway, Naruto and Judai, along with Alexis, Chumli, Cyrus, Mindy, and Jasmine, went to look for the Obelisk student, only for Jazz to get kidnapped by an ape with a dual disc who was being chased by a couple of shady characters. The ape, named Wheeler, something Naruto found funny, ended up dueling Judai, who volunteered because she really wanted to test out her new deck since she didn't understand the inner workings of her new deck. She won, of course, and Jasmine was released on the condition that Judai wins. When the scientists threatened to take not only Wheeler but also his family who were watching the duel, Professor Banner threatened to torture them, forcing them to back down. The Slifer dorm representative explained that Chaz had already left the island on his family's private yacht, so they basically missed him. The next day was tennis day with Naruto, Judai, Jasmine, and Mindy occupying one court with Naruto and Judai against Jasmine and Mindy. It was going well, that is until Naruto hit it too hard. The ball was on a direct path to Alexis, something she was about to regret, but someone got to her and redirected the ball to an unsuspecting Growler, hitting him in the face, 2 balls in the same eye in the same week. Someone must hate the guy a lot. An evil laugh. The person who redirected the ball was an Obelisk student named Mitsuru Ayanokuji, the young heir of the Ayanokuji engines, who upon meeting Alexis's eyes blushed and started getting emotional around her. This, of course, annoyed Naruto, and he was about to confront the boy, until Growler pulled him away from the group to punish him. He wanted to protest, but it was partially his fault as the ball was heading towards Alexis, giving Mitsuru the chance to save her from a black eye that Growler was now sporting. His punishment was being an assistant/target practice to the tennis team captain Mitsuru Ayanokuji. While serving his punishment, Alexis, along with Judai, Cyrus, Mindy, and Jasmine, arrived at the courts, attracting the attention of Naruto and Mitsuru. At first, Mitsuru thought Alexis came to see him further humiliate the Yellow RA student, but was ignored as she walked past him to talk to Naruto about Chaz's whereabouts. This didn't sit too well with Mitsuru, and he challenged Naruto to a duel, with the winner becoming Alexis's boyfriend. Oh, now this put Naruto in a very bad mood. How bad, may you ask? Well, a black aura erupted from Naruto and the image of a giant 10-tailed wolf with 3 glowing red eyes stared at the obelisk student. On top of that, if you look really closely, you can see 10 tails swirling violently behind Naruto as if they were his own, and an eye in the center of his forehead with 3 rings around the pupil and 3 tomes in each ring. Calming down after noticing that his killing intent was affecting Alexis and company, he agreed to the duel, and long story short, Naruto utterly destroyed Mitsuru. That was when Mitsuru learned 2 very important things that day. 1. Alexis was Naruto's girlfriend, so she was off limits, and 2. Never, and I repeat never, challenge a very angry boyfriend, because said boyfriend might show you just how ruthless he can be. The funny thing about all of this, the rest of the week passed uneventfully until Shepard announced that Christmas break would be next week, so Naruto invited Alexis and Judai to attend Christmas at his home, aka Duelist Kingdom. And of course, he made the offer even sweeter when he said that his family would be coming. And if you know Naruto, then you would know who his godfather and godbrother are, along with his future brother-in-law. They accepted, only if his family could come as well. Naruto agreed and informed his father of his arrival, something Pegasus was looking forward to. Duelist Kingdom, Pegasus Castle. Here we find Naruto along with Alexis and Judai hugging in front of a fireplace while waiting for the other guests to arrive. Both Alexis's parents and Judai's parents were talking to Pegasus in his study, mainly about their children's relationship and whether it should continue, since polygamy was acceptable, although still frowned upon. As they watched the fire dance, Naruto pulled them closer to get their attention. "I hope we can continue like this for many years to come," he said with a sober expression. "I hope so too, Naruto-kun. I don't want this to end," said a less cheerful Judai. "Whatever happens, we'll face it together," Alexis said, trying to lighten the mood. "I hope you're right, Alexis-chan," Naruto said, holding both Alexis and Judai like they were his lifelines. Pegasus study. In Pegasus study was Maximilian Pegasus along with Alexis's father, James Rhodes, along with Judai's parents, Irika Yuki and Anko Yuki, and Anko's funny personality with a female version of Irika. The parents were discussing the current relationship their children were in, especially since their children were seeing each other. "I don't know what to do. I'm happy that my daughter finds some happiness after her mother died and her brother, my son, disappeared, but," James said, trying to see the positive side in his daughter's relationship with the young Pegasus heir. "I understand what you're trying to say, Mr. Rhodes. When my wife and I learned that our daughter got a boyfriend during her time at Duel Academy, we were both happy that she found someone, but at the same time we were worried that she was dating someone who only wanted one thing. But after coming here and seeing her interact with Pegasus's son and his daughter, we knew she was with the right people. But their relationship with each other, while questionable, is based on trust as far as we can see," Irika said, worried for his daughter. "Oh, relax, you two. Our daughters love young Naruto-kun, and he hasn't forced anything on them to prove he's the perfect boyfriend or husband material. Plus, their love lives will be interesting," Anko said while laughing. The men in the studio blushed a little, but quickly banished thoughts of their children's love lives from their heads before it became morbid. Clearing his throat, Pegasus got their attention. "I think it's up to our sons to decide whether or not they should be in a relationship, and it's our job as parents to guide and support their decision, and I support my son's decision in terms of his relationship with his daughters. He's sent me letters via email about how he loves them both and would walk through hell and back to ensure their safety, and from what Naruto told me, Serenity Wheeler, his fiancée, was okay with their relationship since they can keep him off the hook," he said. "Girlfriend?" they said was the only word they got from what Pegasus said. "Yes, Naruto and Serenity Wheeler, Joey Wheeler's younger sister, are engaged, although my son had to prove to Joey Boy that he was fit to ask his sister for her hand in marriage, and he did so with a spectacular duel," said Pegasus, recalling the duel his son had with Joey, and it was quite a spectacle. "Wait, if your son has a fiancée, then why?" James said, but was interrupted by Pegasus. "Like I said, Serenity was asked to pursue a relationship with my son, and it was a way to make sure my son didn't get into trouble like the time he and Judai went to save a friend from being expelled for going to the girls' dorm after hours, only for him to have fallen into the same trap but only to win against young Alexis, and this all started because of a teacher who wanted to expel my son because he humiliated him in his own class," Pegasus said, remembering the letter he got that spoke of a fake love letter and saving a friend because said friend decided to investigate the origins of the letter only to be captured in order to lure Naruto to the fate mentioned in the letter. "Oh yeah, I remember that from one of my daughter's letters," James said, knowing what Pegasus was talking about. "Our daughter wrote the same thing," Irika said. It seems our children have been through a lot since they started attending Dueling Academy. All I can say is to give this relationship of yours a chance, and who knows, maybe one day there will be wedding bells and the laughter of children in your future. Pegasus said, imagining his son and his wives getting married, then his future grandchildren coming to visit their grandfather. The other parents imagined the same and nodded in agreement with Pegasus. Very well, I'll agree to this, but if your son hurts my daughter, then he has become an enemy of the Rhodes family. James said, warning Pegasus. Same goes for us. Irika said, with his wife agreeing. Then it's settled. Pegasus added, then turned to one of his butlers. Please bring Naruto, Alexis, and Judai. He asked the butler, who nodded and left to find his prey. With Naruto, Alexis, and Judai, the three sat in front of the fireplace, when the door opened, revealing one of the butlers. 1,000 pardons, Master Naruto, but Master Pegasus wishes that you along with Mrs. Alexis and Mrs. Judai go to his study, he said, informing the three of his presence. The three looked at each other in concern, but stood up and followed the butler to Pegasus's study room. When the three arrived at the studio, they noticed their parents staring at them, basically putting them on the spot. Look, I know what you're going to say, Dad, but I'm not going to change my mind, Naruto said, with Alexis and Judai following suit. That's right, Father. I love Naruto-kun and Judai-chan, and nothing you can say or do will change that, Alexis said. No matter what you say or do, our minds will not change, so accept it or not. But know this, if you choose not to accept it, then never speak to us again, Judai said, threatening his parents. At first there was silence, but then Pegasus chuckled. My, our children are really determined to maintain their relationship, aren't they? He asked the other parents. Yes, I've never seen our daughter speak to us in such a way that it scares us from how important this is to her, Irika said. Oh, that defiant attitude is definitely from my side of the family, Enko said with a smile, indicating she was proud of her daughter. Watching my daughter cling to this makes me wonder what my dear Anastasia, and Alexis's mother, would have to say about it, James said, remembering his beloved wife. So we have an agreement that our children will not stop seeing each other, Pegasus said, catching his children off guard. Yes, I can see that my daughter is happy with your son Pegasus, so I won't stop them from pursuing a relationship, but nothing too intimate. After all, they are still in school, he said, giving a hint of warning in his voice, something that everyone picked up on. I agree that I'm too young to be a grandmother, Enko said, making Naruto, Alexis, and Judai blush and the father laugh at Enko's comment. So, are you okay with us seeing each other? Asked a surprised Judai. Yes, of course, however, James said, and then turned to Naruto. Harm my daughter in any way, I will personally present you my sword collection, James said, completely lacing his words with venom to make his point clear. Hi, James Dano, Naruto said as he felt the killing intent in him evaporate as James smirked, knowing that the boy knows better than to mess with a former world fencing champion. Well, I think our other guests will be arriving shortly, so please be in the meeting room in 30 minutes to greet them. Time jump. Within the hour, the other guests arrive in the form of Seto Kaiba and his younger brother Makuba, along with Yugi Moto, his girlfriend T. Gardner, and his grandfather Solomon Moto. Then the Wheelers. Kawhi Wheeler, his son Joey Wheeler with his girlfriend Mai Valentine and his daughter Serenity Wheeler, along with them Tristan Taylor, Duke Devlin, and the Ishtar family arrived at Pegasus Castle in their private helicopter. Both Judai and Alexis were shocked, as they were in the presence of some of the most powerful duelists in the entire world, with Yugi in first place, followed by Seto Kaiba, then Joey Wheeler, and finally Merrick Ishtar. Naruto had to stop Judai from running up to them to ask for autographs, but he knew Alexis would ask the same, but he composed himself because he didn't want to make a scene and embarrass himself in front of his father. Naruto along with Judai and Alexis approached the group. Hello everyone, welcome to the party, he said, greeting the group. My Naruto, you sure have grown since I last saw you, Solomon said as he greeted the young Pegasus heir. I'm sure you will, Gigi-san, Naruto said with his signature smile. I'll say, by the way, who are the nice ladies with you? Yugi's grandfather asked. Oh, allow me to introduce you to Alexis Rhodes and Judai Yuki, my classmates from Duel Academy and very special friends of mine, he said, trying to hide his true relationship from his grandfather figure. But the old man could tell he was hiding something. Very special friends, huh? I think there's more to it than that, he said, causing the group to stiffen at the old man's comment. But it's your secret to share, so I won't say anything, he said as the three breathed a sigh of relief. Anyway, I'll introduce you to the rest if it's okay, Gigi-san, he said to Solomon. Of course, so please go have fun, It's your party after all, Solomon said as he went to talk to Pegasus. Naruto and his group arrived at Yugi's group. Hey bro, how's it going? He said, getting the group's attention. Yugi turned to Naruto as he approached. Oh, hello Naruto, I'm doing great, said the king of games as Naruto, along with Judai and Alexis, flanked the young blonde. So I see you and T are here. Anyone else? He asked. Yes, Joey is here with his girlfriend My Valentine. Also Serenity and Kawaii Wheeler are here too. Also Sito and Makuba are here too, and the Ishtar Familia accompanied them, said Yugi, surprising Naruto that not only his godfather and soon-to-be brother and mother-in-law are she but the famous Ishtar Familia who participated in the Battle City semi-finals and the climatic final duel between Yugi and Merrick for the fate of the world. Yugi then noticed the two girls. Oh hi, he said, and regretted it a little when Jidai pushed Naruto out of the way with stars in his eyes. Oh my god, it's really you! Jidai shouted, making Yugi back away. Jidai then pulls out a picture showing the Battle City runner-up. Can I have your autograph? He asked. Yugi laughed nervously, but he was always happy to meet a fan, so he took out a marker and signed the picture. He then noticed another picture. Only this one was of Alexis Rhodes, who blushed as she wanted hers too. She sighed, but didn't express it as his harem sister, so Yugi ended up signing both pictures. Judai hugged Yugi, then ran over to Joey for his autograph, with Alexis following mainly to make sure Judai didn't cause too much trouble. Getting her to sign the picture was a bonus. Naruto stood up and looked at Joey, who was huddled behind Mai to avoid an overzealous fan named Judai, making Naruto laugh. Never a dull moment with her, huh bro? Yugi asked as he watched his friend finally give in and sign the picture at Mai's request from the way Joey slumped in defeat. You can say that, bro. Judai is fun to be with, and with Alexis there's the stabilizing element that keeps her out of trouble most of the time, he said, not wanting Yugi to take this as an example of Alexis handling Judai. May I ask, what's life like at the academy besides having your friends keeping you company? The king of games asked. It's okay, although I feel like something big is going to happen, and knowing my luck it will soon happen, said the blonde, knowing that with his good luck there was also a strong bad luck that followed him like the plague. Hey bro, no offense, but now it's your turn to deal with the crazy stuff now, Yugi said as he patted Naruto on the back as if passing the torch of having to deal with the crazy shit like dealing with Pegasus when he was evil, the fiasco with the Egyptian god cards and one Merrick who went to the dark side, Darts and his biker thugs who used the Orichalcos seal, and then the whole Bakura thing. Basically Yugi now didn't have to deal with all the fate of the world shit, so now it's someone else's problem. Wow, thanks bro, Naruto said while giving Yugi a deadpan look. Anytime bro, Yugi said with a smile on his face. Before the two could speak, Merrick Ishtar joined them after signing the photo of Judai and Alexis. Hey Yugi, Naruto, she greeted the two boys. Oh hello Merrick, nice to see you, said Yugi. Merrick Ishtar, how do you know my name? Naruto asked, wondering how Merrick knew his name. I was here when you had the exhibition duel against the Paradox Brothers, and I have to say it was the most one-sided duel I've ever seen, Merrick said. Naruto smiled at the praise. Thank you, and I have to say you're quite the duelist as well, even though you weren't the one dueling in the Battle City tournament, Naruto said, making Merrick shudder as he remembered when his dark side took over his body and ran amok until Yugi and the Pharaoh stopped him in the final round of Battle City. Tell me you want to duel, Merrick asked, eager to duel the one who now possesses the 3 god cards. Do you really want to duel with me? Naruto asked, surprised that young Ishtar challenged him to a duel. Sure, I saw how you defeated the Paradox Brothers, so I want to see if that was pure skill or pure luck, Merrick said in a challenging tone. Oh, it's on, Naruto said, getting everyone's attention. 30 minutes later, Naruto and Merrick stood on the dueling platform used for the Duelist Kingdom Tournament Finals, with Naruto in the red corner and Merrick in the blue. On the balcony overlooking the dueling arena were the party guests, while Pegasus sat in his chair. This duel will be between Merrick Ishtar and my son Naruto Pegasus. Alright young duelist, shuffle your decks and begin, said Pegasus as they both shuffled their respective decks and placed them in the deck square. Duel, they both said. Naruto, 4,000. Merrick, 4,000. If you don't mind, I'll get things started, Merrick said as he prepared to draw his card. You're welcome, said Naruto. Then I play a face-down defense card and a face-down card, which ends my turn, Merrick said. Planning something I see. Very well drawn, Naruto said as he drew from his deck. First, I activate the spell Melody of the Dragon's Awakening, normal spell. Discard 1 card. Add 2 Dragon-type monsters with 3000 or more ATK and 2500 or less def from your deck to your hand. Using this, I discard a card and add 2 Dragon-type monsters with 3000 or more attack points and 2500 or less defense points. Naruto said as he discarded a card, then searched his deck for what he was looking for. Naruto then revealed what he was looking for, and the expression on the faces of all the sane Pegasus, Naruto Academy girlfriends and the Kaibus was a look of surprise. You see, it revealed a Blue Eyes White Dragon and a Blue Eyes alternate White Dragon. Blue Eyes, but how? Merrick asked, surprised that her opponent was using Kaibus Ace Monster. My dad originally made a deck for that focused on getting Blue Eyes out quickly, but then he decided to give the monster support, and I have to say, the support has done wonders, he said as he continued his turn. Now I reveal my Blue Eyes in my hand to special summon my Blue Eyes alternative White Dragon, he said as he summoned his dragon. Balcony. Up on the balcony, Judai had a familiar but strange case of deja vu because this is the same move Naruto used against her when he used her original deck he got back from his father. Alexis, don't you think so? Yes, I know, but knowing Naruto and this deck, it's going to be full of surprises, Alexis replied, drawing everyone's attention. What do you mean? Yugi asked. When Naruto dueled Judai using this deck, he defeated her in the first turn. That deck is possibly the most powerful deck I've ever seen. Maybe even stronger than your current deck, Yugi-san, Alexis replied. Oh no, please don't tell me my future brother-in-law looks like Kaiba, Joey complained. Oh, and what's wrong with being like me, and besides it's better than being a third-rate duelist like you, said Kaiba. Why you? Joey yelled as Mai, Tristan, and T struggled to restrain Joey. From what I saw when I faced that deck, I felt like it was holding back as if it sensed Naruto's fear of hurting me, so it held back everything for the sake of its master, said Judai. He turned his attention back to the duel and completely missed Joey and Mai's shocked looks because they know how OP the 6 Samurai deck was for their original deck to completely blow that deck out of the water. Duel. That's quite a power play, Naruto. Being able to summon such a powerful monster on the first turn is no small feat, Merrick said with a mix of awe and shock in his tone of voice, almost fearing what else that deck was capable of. Thanks, but I still have to finish my turn. So next I normal summon Manju of the 10,000 Hands, Light Attribute, Level 4, Fairy/Effect. When this card is normal summoned or flip summoned, you can target one ritual monster or one ritual spell card from your deck and add it to your hand. ATK 1400/Def 1000, said Naruto as he summoned a new monster. Now I activate Manju's ability and search for a ritual monster or ritual spell card, he said as he searched for what he was looking for. I now activate the ritual spell card Chaos Form, ritual spell card. This card can be used to ritual summon any Chaos ritual monster or Black Luster Soldier. You must also tribute monsters from your hand or field and or banish Blue Eyes White Dragon or Dark Magician from your graveyard, whose total levels exactly equal the level of the Chaos ritual monster or Black Luster Soldier. You ritual summon, and by banishing the Blue Eyes from my hand I can ritual summon Blue Eyes Chaos Dragon Max, Dark Attribute, LVL, 8 Dragon/Ritual/Effect. You can ritual summon this card with Chaos Form. It must be ritual summoned and cannot be special summoned by other ways. It cannot be targeted or destroyed by your opponent's card effects. If this card attacks a defense position monster, inflicts double piercing battle damage to your opponent. ATK 4000/Def 0, Naruto said as a portal opened to reveal the futuristic dragon, who then let out a mighty roar. Balcony. No one said a word when this new monster appeared. The only thing going through their minds was how powerful this deck was. Hell, even Kaiba was excited and disturbed at the same time. Excited that his godson was becoming more like him with each passing week, but also annoyed that his godson was proving he could use the Blue Eyes bow type better than he could. Now that's what I call a monster that sure beats anything you can summon, Kyow, Joey said, but Serenity stopped him. That's enough, Nai-san, Serenity said as she slapped him on the back of the head. Joey has a point, though that's quite the monster, Tristan said. Yes, and just as Blue Eyes is the embodiment of power and strength, that dragon is the pinnacle of strength, Solomon Moto said, with everyone agreeing. Merrick was in serious trouble. He only had one card on the field and his opponent had 3, and any combination of monsters could end the duel. I will now end this duel, Merrick, but first I activate Blue Eyes' Alternative's ability and destroy your face-down monster, he said as his weaker dragon charged its attack and fired at the face-down monster, revealing itself to be a man in a black robe, before being vaporized. Thank you for seeing that the monster you destroyed was Gravekeeper's Spy, Dark Attribute, Level 4, Spellcaster / Effect, Flip, Special Summon 1. Gravekeeper. Monster with 1500 or less ATK from your deck. ATK 1200 / Def 2000, and when it's flip summoned I can special summon a Gravekeeper monster as long as its attack powers are 1500 or less, so I special summon Grave Recruiter, Dark Attribute, Level 3, Spellcaster / Effect. When this card you control is sent to your graveyard, add 1. Gravekeeper. Monster with 1500 or less def from your deck to your hand. ATK 1200 / Def 1500 in defense mode, said Merrick as he summoned a new monster that looked just like its brother Major Odeon. Naruto, seeing the pattern, deduced that Merrick was using a Gravekeeper deck, and if he allowed this duel to continue for too long, the deck could indeed prove to be a threat if it was built to maximize its true power. But not wanting to see what Merrick's deck is capable of, he decided that he will end the duel here and now. I'm ending this duel, Merrick. Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon attacks your recruiter and ends this duel, he ordered his monster. What do you mean? My monster is in defense mode, so I won't take damage, Merrick said. That would be true, but if my dragon attacks a monster in defense mode, the difference between my monster's attack points and your monster's defense points is inflicted on you as damage, but my monster does double the damage you would have taken, he said, shocking every sane Pegasus since he created the card. And 2500 plus 2500 equals 5000 life points you lose, so this duel ends with my dragon. Go Chaos Max Dragon, end this duel with Ultimate Burst Stream, he ordered his dragon. Chaos Max then fired lasers from his wing just before launching a powerful blast at Gravekeeper's recruiter. Upon impact, the defending monster was destroyed, and so were Merrick's life points. Merrick, 4000 minus 5000 is equal to minus 1000. Naruto, 4000, FTK, winner. Balcony. Well, what did I say? I knew he would win, Sito said, knowing that his godson was going to win. Yeah, though the fact that he looks like you is a little worrying, said Judai, who was happy to see his boyfriend emerge victorious. I couldn't agree with you more about Judai-san, but that's why he has us to keep him under control, Serenity said, receiving a nod from Judai and Alexis. That's right, one Sito Kaiba is enough for this life, we don't need another, Alexis stated, but she knew very well that Zane could easily be a second Sito in the making, just without the arrogance. Before anyone could say anything, Pegasus decided to speak up. Well, it sure was an exciting, action-packed duel, but I think it's time for dinner, he said as everyone's stomachs started to growl. Everyone, even the monster spirits who sweated over this, laughed in embarrassment. I guess you're right too, San, Naruto said to his adoptive father. Everyone left the dueling arena and headed to the dining room, where everyone had a great Christmas dinner. There was laughter, clapping, and the occasional bickering between Joey and Sito, which ended when I intervened to keep Joey from embarrassing himself in front of his family and friends, but no one seemed to mind much because that's just how Joey was. After dinner, Pegasus offered that everyone could spend the night at his castle, an offer they all accepted, especially Serenity, who wanted to spend time with her fiancé and her other girlfriends. So the four of them ended up in Naruto's room, where they discussed the terms of being with Naruto, and if they still show up it should be a 2 to 3 vote of who will join their group, and Naruto has to give a good reason for including the woman. The four of them then ended up sleeping in the same bed, but nothing above PG. After all, they are still young teenagers. Make how boss monsters deal with the unexpected. While everyone was sleeping, the monster spirits came out to play. However, they are more like the new monsters in the deck that haven't been going well with the 6 samurai. Blue Eyes White Dragon, Blue Eyes Alternate White Dragon Spirit, Blue Eyes Maiden, Blue Eyes Sage, 10,000 Hands Manju, the White Stone of Legend and the Ancients, Max, C, Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon, Blue Eyes Silver Dragon, and Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. The boss monsters from each deck were sitting at the dining table discussing how to help Naruto in future battles. Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon, you are the new boss monster for Naruto to use in battle, Shuren asked the Blue Eyes Dragon. Yes, and you must be Naruto-sama's boss monster for those warriors he received from his father after he left us to be developed, the great dragon said telepathically. Yes, and I have to admit, you're by far the strongest monster I've seen since the Egyptian god cards. By the way, where are they? He asked, as he would have assumed that since they were also boss monsters in the 6 Samurai deck, they would be here to discuss future battles. I think they said something about taking a dip. What does that mean? Said Chaos Max, unused to modern speech and terms. Wait, the only place big enough for those 3 is. He stopped his train of thought when he looked out the window overlooking the lake and saw the 3 god monsters wading through the lake. This made Sharon's sweat drop at what Blue Eyes meant. Well, we can't do anything about it, said the 6 Samurai Synchro monster. I guess we'll leave it like this? Asked the dragon, not wanting to anger the monster who could literally make him go out of existence. Yeah, I'm not going to bother with that. Completely agreed with the white dragon monster, as they ignored the 3 god monsters wandering around the lake outside the castle. Chapter 9. Winter break is over and the second half of the year has begun at Duel Academy. Naruto along with his girlfriends and friends had returned to the island, and what a first month it was for the group. It started when someone was defeating the Obelisk Blue students and taking their cards. At first he wanted to find this dual giant and congratulate him for taking these Obelisk students off their high horse, but was called by Seto Kaiba himself to find the one responsible and make them stop their actions and get their cards back. Of course Naruto wanted to argue, but he knew that his boss still wrote his paychecks, so he along with his friends and girlfriends decided to investigate this dual giant, and when they found out the dual giant was Brian and Beauregard, and, I wish I spelled that right, 2 classmates from our yellow who were picked on by the Obelisk Blue students because of their height. Brian was short for his age and Beauregard was a big student. Judai challenged them and won, of course. All the stolen cards were returned to their rightful owners and Brian and Beauregard became friends with Naruto's gangs. Then came Sandwich Day, where everyone put their hand in a cart full of sandwiches and what they threw away is what they ate, and one of those sandwiches was the golden egg sandwich. Very calm, but someone has been taking them, and for someone to choose just one sandwich from a cart full of them, they must have gotten really lucky, like Naruto, who always pulled out the ramen sandwich. So Naruto along with Judai, Cyrus, Chumli, Alexis and Rose went on a stakeout to find the culprit, who turned out to be an Obelisk Blue who called himself Damien, who from what Dorothy had said has never won a single due to his terrible draws, so he decided to live in the wild to train, and became a Tarzan-like individual who learned to predict his draws, but even with that he lost to Judai, who challenged him and won. Then came the week where Naruto had officially allowed his anger to seep out, and tried to kill someone. You see, he got a message from Yugi saying that his deck was going on tour and Duel Academy was the first stop, and he had sent him 10 VIP tickets to see the deck before anyone else, so he invited himself, Judai, Alexis, Cyrus, Chumli, Mindy, Jasmine, Zane, which shocked everyone, mostly Cyrus, Bastion, and finally Ms. Fontaine, who invited herself, but no one seemed to care. Then he heard from Bastion about the infamous duelist Copycat, a yellow RA student who went by the name Dimitri, who lost to another duelist for the last ticket to see Yugi's deck. Naruto had nothing to worry about since his decks were all unique, making it impossible for this copycat to imitate him. It took Naruto and his group 30 minutes to find the culprit, who turned out to be Dimitri, who stole the mallet and started impersonating Naruto's god brother, enraging the blonde. How bad, you may ask? It took Judai, Alexis, Cyrus, Chumli, Zane, and everyone else there to stop him from killing Dimitri, who was hiding behind a large rock. Naruto calmed down enough to challenge Ra's student to a duel, and let's just say Dimitri never copied anyone again and now avoids the blonde like the plague, going to therapy both physically and mentally. Even his dual spirits avoided him the entire week. He was angry. Heck, even his girlfriends knew to keep their distance so as not to anger her boyfriend even more. She then met a new Obelisk student named Blair Flanagan, who Alexis introduced her to, and the two hit it off. Blair found out about her situation, and she agreed to the terms of dating him, only if she dueled one of them to prove that she was worthy of being with the blonde. Blair had gone up against Judai, and almost won, but since Judai was an experienced duelist she defeated her easily. But after the duel was over, Alexis and Judai agreed to let her in, but had to inform Serenity of their decision so that she wouldn't be left out of the loop. So after a quick call to the alpha female of the growing harem and a quick recommendation from said alpha about adding a certain ancient Egyptian tomb guardian named Ishizu Ishtar, before she could retort, a week after Blair's welcome to Duel Academy and her introduction to Naruto's growing harem. It was a typical day at school, and a new shipment of supplies had arrived at the academy, and Dorothy was in charge of handling the new supplies. Haha, here goes, okay, let's go, said Dorothy, ready to oversee the shipment. Just leave that over there, she ordered. While this was happening, something was happening in the water below. Dorothy, thinking she heard something, looked over the side and saw nothing and simply shrugged. Hey, don't stop moving! Keep going! Keep going! Hurry up! She ordered. In the distance, near the lighthouse, a human-shaped shadow moved through the water undetected. As a wave crashed against the rocks, a human crawled onto the rock and then removed his snorkel mask, revealing a man with brown eyes and light brown hair tied in a ponytail with a few strands of hair sticking out. The man has a long, pointed chin with spikes. It was a piece of cake for me to sneak in. Duel Academy, Gerard, will uncover its secret, he said as he looked at the academy while still in his diving suit. Duel Academy, Council Chamber. Why is that? Growler asked. For our goodwill duel with North Duel Academy, our top student, Zane Trustdale, must be chosen as our representative, just as he was last year, Growler said, pointing to Zane, who was standing next to Chancellor Shepard. That would make sense if the other representative wasn't a freshman, Shepard told the council. A freshman? Growler yelled. To that end, it would be best if our representative were also a freshman, wouldn't it? What do you think, Zane? Shepard asked. I have no problem with that, Zane said, not caring that a freshman was this year's representative for the school duel. Well then, the question now is who should be our new representative, Shepard said, but Zane interrupted him. Naruto Pegasus, Zane suggested to get everyone's attention. Naruto Pegasus? Thought Growler. Seems like this would be a tough choice, right, Pharaoh? Banner asked his cat. Naruto Pegasus? The sole heir to Maximilian's industrial illusions, are you serious? Ms. Fontaine asked. I think he'll give us an interesting duel, especially since he has the 3 most powerful cards of all the duel monsters, Zane said, reminding everyone in the room that Naruto is in possession of the Egyptian god cards. MHM. I have no doubt about his skills as a duelist. His win-loss ratio speaks for itself, Shepard said as she agreed with Zane's choice as a representative. This can't be to think that Brat will become our representative. There has to be someone who can oppose him. Let's see, Growler seethed, not wanting the boy who humiliated him to represent him. It was no secret that Growler despised Naruto, but after the conversation he had with Chancellor Shepard, he could no longer openly talk about his hatred for the Pegasus heir, especially now that Seto Kaiba had his sights set on the academy as a whole to make sure nothing goes wrong. As he thought of someone who would make a better representative, an idea came to him. In that case, I nominate Bastion Misawa, Growler announced. Same dorm as Zane's choice? Shepard asked. How about we have the 2 of them duel, and the winner becomes our representative? Growler asked as he jumped onto the table and approached Shepard. Shepard narrowed his eyes at Growler, but the professor's idea made sense, so he turned to Zane. What do you think, Zane? He asked. Elsewhere, while the meeting was underway, Gerard had sneaked into the academy and was now in the locker room looking for a disguise so he could blend in. So he opened a random locker and pulled out a Slifer red jacket. Great, that's it, he whispered, in class. Huh? Me? Naruto asked, looking around in confusion. The same could be said for Judai and Blair, who had no idea what was going on, but Alexis smiled at the news that Naruto was selected to be this year's representative in the school duel if he won against Bastion. That's right, Naruto-san. You'll be dueling Bastion, and whoever wins can enter the duel against Northern Duel Academy, Banner said as class began. This made Naruto turn to look at his opponent and send Bastion a smile that promised a match to remember, and Bastion did the same. I hope you give us a good duel, Banner told his students. When class ended, his friends approached him. It's awesome that you get to be the academy representative, Cyrus said, completely excited that his friend could fight for the school. I knew my Naruto was bad at big things, Judai said as he hugged his left arm. Blair and Alexis agreed, but since they didn't want their harem sister to show them up, Alexis held onto his right arm and Blair got comfortable sitting on his lap. Naruto was trying not to get a huge erection at this, but noticed his opponent had made her way over to Naruto's group. Naruto turned to Bastion. Our chance to fight has come too soon, huh? He asked. Yes. I've been doing some research ever since. I must say, out of everyone at Duel Academy, You're a tough opponent to beat if you're not prepared, Bastion said. Oh, so you've formulated the perfect strategy to defeat my 6 samurai deck or the new deck my father sent me to beta test? The blonde asked. This made Bastion a little nervous because both decks, from what he's seen, are powerful in their own right. One swarms the field, leaving the opponent with nothing to do. But hopefully they drew something that can help. And what's worse is that Naruto's 6 samurai deck housed the 3 god cards which in themselves were powerful. But if he ever managed to summon all 3, let's just say he'd rather give up than face the onslaught of those monsters. Then there was the new deck, which from what he saw focuses on synchronized plays. But the new deck seemed to have more than what he saw during Naruto's. And no, but I'll have something ready in time for our duel. You can count on that, Bastion said as he left to begin formulating the winning strategy for either deck, and he hoped that the strategy he created was for the right deck, because if he employed the strategy, and it was for the wrong deck, then he would be in serious trouble. I'm looking forward to it, Bastion-san, Naruto said as he managed to get his arms out for Judai and Alexis to grab him, but not before touching him. He then took Blair by the waist and lifted her up only to gently put her on her desk, allowing her to walk over to Bastion. Naruto then extended his hand and Bastion did the same and they shook. May the best man win, the blonde said with a smile. Same here, Bastion replied. The two released their handshake, and Bastion left the classroom, eager to make the deck capable enough to take on Naruto's own deck, whichever one he ended up choosing. Naruto was joined by his friends and girlfriends. Whatever he comes up with, it'll push your deck to its absolute limits, Cyrus said. Well, whatever the case, I think this is going to turn out to be one hell of a duel, Chumley said, receiving a nod from the girls. Yeah, and knowing my Koifa, he'll be expecting a win. Well, I'd better hurry up and work on my decks and see which one wants to see some action, Naruto said because he knew Kaiba would be the strongest duelist to represent his school. Any chance, Naruto left the room with his group following his lead. Gerard was walking down one of the many hallways in the academy, searching for whatever it was he was here for. Along the way, he saw a couple of obelisk students and approached them, which was a bad idea, especially if you're wearing red. Listen, I have something I want to ask you, he asked, but was interrupted by the obelisk students. Huh! I hear the voice of a Slifer Red, said one of the students, who pushed him aside, allowing both he and his friend to walk past Gerard. What's the deal? The reporter asked, confused. Naruto and his group were currently heading to Ra's dorm, but they saw Gerard talking to our yellow student. Listen, Shut up! I'm busy, said Ra's student as he pushed Gerard out of the way, before walking away. This action made Naruto growl as he expected some of Ra's yellow students to be more humble than obelisk students, but that was wishful thinking on his part. Hey! Why? Why is everyone turning their backs on me? The distressed reporter asked. That guy looks too old to be a student, Cyrus said, but Naruto broke away from the group with Judai following him. Huh? Naruto Aniki, Judai Aniki? The young blue-haired girl asked. Hey you, Naruto said, catching the older brunette's attention. Gerard turned to the pair and laughed nervously at the two. Naruto glared at him, but Judai stared at the man, but then smiled. I get it. They've held you back for a few years, huh, old man? Judai asked. This made everyone, including Gerard, sweat and wonder how Judai came to that conclusion. Old man? Gerardo asked. That's great. That's great. I get it. Keep trying and you'll eventually get promoted. Don't give up, Judai said as he patted Gerard on the shoulder and then shook his hand. Naruto still kept his gaze on the man, not trusting him, but the man looked awfully familiar. Alexis and Blair then joined the pair, which caught Gerard's attention. The man stepped back a bit. Cyrus, make sure you take him back to Slifer's dorm. We'll be there to help Naruto-kun strategize for his duel against Bastion, Judai said as he took Naruto's arm and dragged him back to their shared dorm. Hey, wait! Wait! Gerard said as the man and the three women left, leaving Gerard with the two Slifer students. Slifer night bedroom. Naruto along with Judai and Blair had arrived at the Slifer dormitory. Alexis couldn't go due to personal reasons. Naruto was sitting on the floor with two boxes in front of him, wondering which one to use in the upcoming duel against Bastion for the title of school representative. From the perspective of everyone who was sane, Judai, Naruto was just staring at his decks, but Judai could see that Naruto was talking to the dual spirits that inhabit the deck, mainly the boss monsters. Master, there's no problem if you decide to use the 6 samurai. We're not ready to show ourselves to the world. Besides, you still have to summon Obelisk-sama in front of the entire school, Shooting Star Dragon said. It was a valid point that of the 3 Egyptian god cards he possessed, he had summoned Slifer and Ra during a school duel, while he summoned Obelisk in his duel against Titan, who had kidnapped Alexis. I know, but I don't want you to feel like I'm abandoning you, Naruto thought. But you're not going to abandon us, Master. It's more like keeping us a secret, until the time is right for the synchronized dragons to rise, said the white dragon, receiving a nod from the other boss monsters. And besides, you haven't earned his trust yet, said the synchronized dragon monster, now getting the others' attention. His? Ra asked. You see, I'm just a representative of the deck's true boss monster, and he refuses to show himself to someone who hasn't shown him the duelist soul yet, and Master Naruto has yet to unleash his full potential, Star said, now with everyone's attention on him. Duelist soul, I've only seen that in the Pharaoh and his reincarnation, Slifer said. The same could be said of Seto Kaiba and his ancestor, Obelisk added, clearing his throat. Shuren caught the other boss monster's attention. As interesting as all this sounds, I think we're getting off track, he said. Well, anyway, Master, use the 6 samurai, and when we think the time is right, we will call you to use us, Shooting Star said before disappearing back into the deck. Well then, it's settled, Naruto said as he grabbed one of the mallet boxes and attached it to his belt and picked up the remaining mallet. I'm going with the 6 samurai. Bastion is no doubt planning something to defeat the deck, but we will beat him, said Naruto. That's good, Naruto-kun. Always go with the winning team, said an excited Judai. So I get to see the legendary 6 samurai deck in action. I can't wait, Blair said, equally excited. While this was happening, Gerard looked at the group, wondering why they were all so excited. Old man, Naruto is going to use the 6 samurai in tomorrow's duel. Aren't you excited? Asked an excited Judai. Gerard shrugged. I don't even know what those are. They're an archetype of ferocious warrior monsters with powerful and mysterious abilities, some of which can turn the tide of any duel, but the deck itself is one of a kind, Blair said, drawing the man's attention. Just one of that kind? He asked. Yeah, his dad created the Soli deck for him, Cyrus added. Wow, kid, your dad must know the right people to make that happen, Gerard said. Yes, and he even sent me a deck to test out the new game mechanics he wants to add to the dueling world, Naruto said as he got to work on his deck. But I wonder what kind of deck Bastion will use, Cyrus asked. That's who we're talking about. I'm sure he probably kept researching Naruto's deck despite how little information there is on the deck itself, Chumley said. Naruto will win, Judai said confidently. Judai-chan, I understand that Naruto hasn't lost a duel yet, but it seems like this guy, Bastion, will be tough competition, Blair said worriedly, but Judai calmed her down and placed a hand on her shoulders. Trust me when I say Naruto will win, Judai said. While this was happening, no one noticed Gerard slipping out of the room. Abandoned bedroom, night. Alexis stood in front of the bedroom with a single rose in her hand. She then placed the rose near the "Do not enter" sign. Be at peace, Nissan, wherever you are. Take care, she said. Then she heard a rustling coming from the bushes not far from her location. She turned around and saw Gerard coming up behind her. Why, hello, he said as he casually walked towards her with his hands in his pockets. Hey, you're that guy from earlier, he said. Yeah, look, I heard some students have gone missing here. You don't know anything about any of them, do you? Gerard asked, making Alexis nervous. What do you care, Ponytail? She asked, wanting to change the subject since it hit close to home. Her missing brother. You know, I'm just curious, that's all, he said. Yeah, well, you can stay curious. Those missing students aren't for your amusement, so you should mind your own business. And besides, Seto Kaiba already sent someone to investigate that, so there's no need for you to be here, he said as he left. He didn't see Gerard flinch at Seto Kaiba's name. Damn that guy, he doesn't even have to be here to piss me off, Gerard thought as he became enraged at the mere mention of Seto's name. Then Gerard pulled out a camera. Whoever sent them won't stop me from getting the scoop of the century, he said as he took photographs of the abandoned bedroom. Ra's yellow bedroom, Bastion Hall. Bastion was sitting at his desk researching how to beat Naruto's deck in tomorrow's match. Countless equations, a vast amount of theorems, but I still haven't solved the problem that is Naruto's deck, he said, looking at records of various Naruto matches. Ah, the legendary 6 Samurai Shuriken, quite the specimen. With its special ability, it can negate the activation of any spell or trap cards during either player's turn, and the fact that it needs Kagemusha, a tuner monster, and any level 3 monster to be synchro summoned, a new summoning mechanic with no way to stop it from now on, he said, looking at the stats of said monsters. Bastion then pulled out the stats for the 3 Egyptian god cards. He shuddered at the thought of having to face them. If I somehow manage to destroy your samurai, those god cards of yours are something to be feared. Slifer, the Sky Dragon's attack and defense are determined by the number of cards in your hand. So to defeat this monster I need to keep Naruto's hand small, but even with that recall his second mouth ability proves to be very dangerous to any monster with less than 2,000 attack points. Then there is Obelisk the Tormentor with the ability to have infinite attack by tribute 2 monsters. So far he is the only one I can handle as long as I have a monster in defense mode. No matter how strong a monster is a monster in defense mode, if I destroy it, it will not do damage unless the attacking monster can cause piercing damage. And finally the strongest of the 3, the Winged Dragon of Ra, when summoned by tribute 3 monsters, the ATK and Def of Ra, become the combined ATK and Def of the tribute monsters. Ra also has several additional powers, can pay an amount of life points to increase the ATK and Def of Ra by the same amount, and tribute monsters the player controls to further increase its ATK and DF. The other effect of Ra is to become a Phoenix by paying 1,000 life points. This Phoenix mode gave Ra immunity to destruction and the ability to instantly destroy everything on the opponent's side of the field. Phoenix mode only lasts until the end of the turn it is activated, and the fact that it knows the chant to summon this beast is even more stressful. So all in all, that main deck of yours is dangerous. I could put together a deck that can slow down his ability to summon any of his boss monsters, but his deck is too fast for me to get anything out on the field, and his strategies are unorthodox and unpredictable at best, so trying to build one would be a miracle, and a miracle is something that can happen overnight. Sigh, if my opponent was Judai, stopping his fusion summons would have been the solution, but synchro summoning doesn't require spell cards, but maybe I can stop the monsters from gathering, but that leaves the god cards which are immune to all card effects, so either way I'm screwed, said Bastion as he started building his deck for tomorrow, hoping that it would just be what he needed for his match. Next day, Duel Academy Arena. It's time, duelists, to find out who will represent our most illustrious academy in the annual school duel, Growler announced. This made everyone cheer because now they all had the chance to see which of RA Yellow's 2 strongest first-year students would have what it takes to be the school's representative for the annual school duel. First up from the dorm is RA Bastion Masawa, Growler announced to applause. And her opponent from the same dorm is none other than Pegasus Naruto, he said, which got an even louder cheer, especially from the group of girls who were always with him. Hell, even Judai and Blair were wearing t-shirts that said Go Naruto Go, and if that wasn't surprising enough, Alexis was wearing an orange bandana on her forehead with a Pegasus in the center. Yeah, definitely a surprise to everyone in their right mind. Her harem sisters, Cyrus, Chumli, and Zane, arena floor. Here we go, Bastion, 2 of RA Yellow's best duelists facing each other. Let's talk about the clash of titans, Naruto said, eager to start the duel. I appreciate the sentiment, Naruto-san. Out of all the duelists in the Duel Academy, you were the one I wanted to duel. However, with the deck I've prepared, I should be more than a match for even you, Bastion said, completely confident in his deck to take on Naruto's ace supports. Go Naruto Kyuen! Judai and Blair shouted. This made everyone either sweat drop or back away from them, because both Judai and Blair have gained a bad reputation for attacking anyone who dares to insult their boyfriend, with Alexis stopping them from getting expelled and facing assault charges. Come on Naruto Nikki, we believe in you, Cyrus shouted with Chumli, and the girls nodded with the Bluenet. Dr. Banner and Chancellor Shepard were sitting a few rows away from Naruto's friends as he petted Pharaoh. Zane approached the group and sat next to his friend Alexis. This is going to be instinct versus intelligence, he said, getting everyone's attention. I guess so, but knowing Naruto-kun, he'll be as unpredictable as ever, which will take Bastion by surprise and ruin everything he had planned, Alexis said as her gaze focused on her boyfriend. Huh! Alexis? He said, turning to his friend, and was a little surprised to see her wearing a Go Naruto Go short-sleeved t-shirt. Now Zane Trustdale was all about serious, calm, cool, and collective things. just to name a few. But being someone who would laugh at the sight of the three girls' ridiculous t-shirt almost made him break his serious facade. So, on the outside he was a little shaken up, but on the inside he was laughing like the Joker on weed and having a lot of fun. Out of the arena, with everyone distracted by the duel, Gerard raced toward his destination. Okay, while everyone's distracted by this duel, I can get more dirt on those missing children, he told himself as he snuck into the library and accessed one of the school computers to learn more about the abandoned dorm and the missing students. However, what he doesn't know is that those files are being closely monitored by Naruto's own PC for any suspicious activity, so whoever accesses those files, not only will the location of the access be pinged, but a picture will also be taken of who accessed said files and it will be sent directly to Seto Kaiba himself. Furthermore, if one were to use a flash drive to copy said files, then they will not only download a virus, but a tracking program as well. So long story short, Gerard and whoever wanted those files would most likely get into serious trouble with both Seto Kaiba and the local law enforcement. And I never liked this guy, so bye loser. Sand. Now, without further ado, let the duel begin, announced Dr. Growler. We'll see about Bastion, and like my girlfriend said, it's time to get going, he said as he activated his duel disc. Let's duel! They shouted in unison with Bastion following Naruto's lead and activating his duel disc. Naruto, 4000. Bastion, 4000. Very well, first, I summon Carbonettin, Earth Attribute. Level 3, Dinosaur/Effect. If this card fights a fire monster during damage calculation, this card gains 1000 ATK, during damage calculation only. You can banish this card from your graveyard. Special summon one level 7 or lower dragon-type normal monster from your hand or deck in face-up defense position. You can only use this effective Carbonettin once per turn. ATK 800/Def 600 in defense mode, and that ends my turn, said Bastion. Impressive, but hardly a threat. No offense, Bastion, but did you really think I'd attack that monster with a fire attribute monster, when most of my monsters are earth attribute? Naruto said, making Bastion realize his first mistake. The only first monster in Naruto's deck was Mizuho, and he rarely summoned her on the first turn, but she can still salvage this, he hoped. I'll start by activating the Field Spell Temple of the 6th spell card, Field, each time one or more. 6 Samurai. Monsters are normal or special summoned, place one Bushido counter on this card. Monsters your opponent controls lose 100 ATK for each Bushido counter on this card, he said as a temple appeared. I now activate 2 spell cards that I'm sure you're familiar with. Gateway of the 6th and 6 Samurai United. From there I summon Kagemusha of the 6 Samurai to the field in attack mode, Naruto said as he summoned his tuner monster. Your monster is good, but it still doesn't pose a threat, Bastion began, but Naruto interrupted him. Who said it was over? Now I play Asceticism of the 6 Samurai. Now with this card I can search for a monster whose attack points are the same as the monster I currently have on the field, but its name should be different, so give a warm welcome to the Elder of the 6 Samurai, Earth Attribute, LVL3, Warrior/Effect. If your opponent controls a monster, and you don't control any monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. ATK 400/Def 0. He said as he called out an old man on a chariot with legs and armed with crossbows. Now that I've summoned 2 monsters with 6 samurai in their names, I send 6 Samurai United to the graveyard to draw 2 new cards, Naruto said as he sent the spell card to the grave and drew 2. Hey Bastion, do you know what's coming next? He asked his fellow RA student, who was gulping at the mere thought of facing Naruto's signature monster. I sync my level 2 Kagemusha with my level 3 Elder and synchro summon, he said as the 2 monsters leaped into the air. Kagemusha spun into 2 green rings and surrounded the 6 Samurai Elder. May your sword be true and you will be strong like your sword. Synchro summoning! A burst of light appeared before him. Appear before me, the legendary 6 Samurai Sharigan, 2500/1400. Naruto roared as the giant pillar of light disappeared and was replaced by a warrior clad in red samurai armor and carrying a serrated katana. Seeing this monster much like the promotional duel, it made everyone cheer to see such an iconic monster, and much Yugi's Dark Magician and Kaiba's Blue Eyes White Dragon, the legendary 6 Samurai, Sharigan was Naruto's ace monster. Now I activate the effective Gateway of the 6, and by removing 4 of its Bushido counters I can add any 6 Samurai monster from my hand or deck, Naruto informed as he searched his deck and looked for the monster he needed. Now I special summoned 6 Samurai Grandmaster, 2100/800, in attack mode, and since I summoned the 6 Samurai monster to the field, my gateway gains 2 Bushido counters and raises it to 4, so you know what that means, Naruto said as he took out his deck and searched for any monsters he needed. I now special summon the legendary 6 Samurai Kizan, 1800/500, now 2100/800, in attack mode, and since there are 2 6 Samurai monsters with different names on the field, their attack and defense points increased by 300, Naruto said as the power of his newly summoned warrior increased. Now Bastion was screwed like a shitty stream without a paddle, and his canoe was on fire, and he was about to set sail down a bucking waterfall. He then heard Naruto again, and it shocked him. Then I place a card face down and end my turn, he said, surprising everyone. What? Bastion asked. I want to give you a fair chance, just like Joey once said, come at me, bro, Naruto said with a smile. Even though Bastion was cornered, he wanted to give his opponent a fair chance to get out of this death trap. Supports. Wait, why would Naruto give Bastion the chance to counterattack when he can just FTK right now? Asked Blair, who knew Naruto was capable of ending a duel before things got out of hand. It's because Naruto respects Bastion as a duelist, and wants to see if Bastion is capable of handling a dire situation like that, or he wants to see if Bastion can think his way out like I would, and that's by relying on your deck, Judai said, knowing that if it had been her Naruto was dueling, she would have most likely given Naruto a fair challenge. Naruto is playing a dangerous game with that mentality, Zane added. I know, but Naruto has always been the most unpredictable duelist, so anything Bastion throws at him, he'll counter, Alexa said, receiving nods from her harem sisters and her Slifer friends. Bastion was surprised that Naruto didn't FTK him, but as they say, don't look a gifted horse in the mouth, so he decided to buff up his defenses. I defense summon Oxygeddon, Wind Attribute, LVL4, Dinosaur/Effect. When this card is destroyed by battle with a Pyro-type monster and sent to the graveyard, inflict 800 damage to both players. ATK 1800/Def 800, in defense mode, and turn a card face down and end my turn, he said, a little disappointed to find that this was all he could do. Naruto sighed sadly to his partner Are. Bastion was pushed so far back into a corner, he could do nothing but buff up his defenses in hopes of lasting until the next turn. But Naruto knew that if given the chance, Bastion would counterattack. If he had set up for his main deck. Bastion, you're a good duelist, and I respect you, but that won't save you, because as cheesy as it sounds, I'm calling the final turn, Naruto said, getting everyone's attention. What? My turn, draw, Naruto said as he drew a card that began to glow an ominous blue. I activate my face-down double-edged sword technique trap. Target 2. 6 Samurai monsters in your graveyard. Special summon those targets in face-up attack position. During the end phase of this turn, destroy them, and if you do, take damage equal to the ATK of those destroyed monsters. With this I can target 2 6 Samurai monsters in my graveyard and special summon them to my side of the field this turn. However, at the end of my turn, they are destroyed and I take damage equal to the combined attack points of both monsters. So back comes Kagemusha of the 6 Samurai and Elder of the 6 Samurai, he said as the 2 aforementioned monsters left his graveyard. Stop. Quite a power play, Syra said in amazement. Power play indeed, but risky at that, Zane added. True, but knowing Naruto-kun, he'll use them, and with that, the side effect will be nullified, Judai said, because he knew that his boyfriend/lover wouldn't pass up the opportunity to use his monster. Yes, but the question is what he plans to use them for, because he can synchro summon again, but I haven't seen him use any other synchro monsters with his 6 Samurai besides Shiren, Alexa said. Maybe he'll sacrifice himself to summon a powerful monster, Blair replied to the unanswered question. This made everyone realize something. Naruto had 5 monsters on the field, 2 of which could end the duel if they attacked directly, so he left 3 and used that's when they came to a shocking conclusion. Naruto was going to summon an Egyptian god card. And know me, Bastion. During the promotional duel I summoned Slifer the Sky Dragon. During the exhibition match between Judai and I against the Paradox Brothers I unleashed the Winged Dragon of Ra. Now you shall witness the 3rd Egyptian god card, Naruto said as he held the card in the air, similar to how Yugi did during his duel against Bakura during the Battle City tournament. Now Bastion was afraid, because he hoped to avoid this, But now he will feel the wrath of the second strongest god monster of the three. I sacrificed the 6th legendary samurai, Kizan, Kagemusha of the 6 samurai, and the elder of the 6 samurai to summon the almighty Obelisk the Tormentor," Naruto said as the 3 monsters were pulled towards the card. Naruto then tapped the card on his dual disc and the card appeared. The large beast then emerged from the ground with its arms crossed and looked at Bastion, who from then on was trembling in fear. After the summoning of the creatures, most of Obelisk Blue cheered at the appearance of their pet, though the monster glared at them and let out a low growl. But Naruto knew what the great beast was saying. "This plague cheers me up, but it ridicules my sisters. How dare they? Don't worry, friend, after this you won't see them for a while," Naruto thought to his monster. Obelisk then looked at his summoner. "Very well, but make this quick. Those looks make me want to wipe them away, and I'm pretty sure my sisters share the same courtesy," said Obelisk, not wanting to be here any longer than necessary. "Fine then," Naruto muttered to himself, before setting his sights on his opponent. "Forgive me, Bastion, but I'm wrapping this up. Shiren, the Grandmaster is attacking his monsters. Clear the way for the finishing blow," Naruto said as his 2 warrior monsters rushed towards the 2 defensively positioned monsters, destroying them. Bastion shielded himself from the impact, but he wasn't prepared for what was going to happen next. "Obelisk, attack his life points directly with Fist of Fury," Naruto ordered. Obelisk's right fist then glowed with a bright blue, just before he reared his fist back, then threw his punch at Bastion, who upon impact flew out of the arena and fell to the ground. Naruto equals 4000. Bastion equals 4000 minus 4000 is equal to 0. Winner Naruto. As the monster holograms faded, Naruto rushed to his fallen student. Bastion lay on the ground with a confused grin on his face. "Ha ha 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 ha, that was invigorating," Bastion shouted before getting up and composing himself. "Sorry about that, but the adrenaline I got from that is still at its peak. But still, that was a great duel, and with this you are now the representative for the school duel, so I'm looking forward to the match," he said as he held out his hand, which Naruto took. "Sure, Bastion, I can't wait for a rematch either," he said as he let go of Bastion's hand. "Just like me, I'll have the formula to stop your deck next, and when I do, prepare to lose," Bastion said confidently. "I'm looking forward to it, buddy," Naruto said, but was then shot down by Judai and Blair, who were excited to see their man now as the Duel Academy representative. But even if he didn't win, they'd still love him anyway. "Congratulations on the duel, I knew I made the right choice," Zane said, making everyone look at him. "Wait, you chose me, why?" Naruto asked. "It was only fair, since your opponent was going to be a freshman," Zane said. "Oh, that would make sense," Alexis said. Before they could say anything else, they heard screams and commotion, and when they peeked at the entrance of the arena, they saw Gerard in handcuffs being dragged away by dorm security, before those from Slifer Red could retort. The head of security approached the Chancellor, and informed him that the individual in custody was stealing information related to the abandoned dorm, and they were alerted by a web video of Gerard caught hacking into the campus mainframe. The Chancellor, who was furious that the man was trying to tarnish the school's reputation, but also cause upset to the families affected by the events that took place in that dorm. As it played out, Naruto took out a mini laptop and noticed that his little gift he hid inside those files had worked. Damn Kaiba. Maybe a cocky jerk sometimes, but learning those computer skills that can rival Sito's was a good time well spent. Naruto then explained why Gerard was in handcuffs, and that pissed off Alexis since her brother was one of those missing kids, and Zane because Atticus was his best friend, so seeing that low-life being taken to who knows where was satisfying to say the least. Chapter 10. The School Duel. It's been a week since Naruto's duel with Bastion for the title of Duel Academy representative for the upcoming school duel. The week was relatively peaceful except for Naruto's friends and girlfriends intruding on his preparation time and wanting him to use his cards. But Naruto said that those cards don't work in his decks because they would interfere with the synergy of the overall formula and how the decks worked. So, he decided to go to the roof of the academy to work in peace. But even the roof wasn't a safe place to work on his strategies because he had an encounter with Growler with a strange gay astronaut suit and a strange-looking boy who appeared to be a hardened drug addict. The boy named Belowski is a calm, carefree, and peace-loving boy who isn't afraid to take a nap in the most precarious of times, and upon dueling him, Naruto learned that the obelisk blue boy had the ability to communicate with dual monsters, a power similar to his own. Belowski then challenged Naruto to a duel, but Naruto decided to decline the challenge. When asked why, Naruto simply responded by using his psychic abilities to summon the Blue Eyes White Dragon and scared the two obelisk blues into accepting his answer, which of course they did, after they peed their pants. During the week, Naruto had received a new dual disc from his godfather. The dual disc was sleek and thin with a black body with blue lines running along it, and a seemingly blue gem-like object in the center. The new dual disc was developed by the Kaiba Corporation and creates solid vision holograms from the user's imagination via a neural link. They have a similar design to the capsule shooter and appear as a hybrid of a KC mass production disc and a D-pad. The overall design mimics that of the KC mass production disc. The blade folds into the body when not in use, similar to the blade on a D-pad. It can produce a virtual blade similar to that on the D-pad. Additionally, the dual disc is powered by a headset similar to a dual gazer, though instead of possessing a glass lens, the device has been shown to project a series of holographic circles over the eye. It can use either a virtual deck of cards or a physical deck of cards. In Naruto's case, he preferred his own physical decks to a virtual deck, so Kaiba created several deck boxes with print scanners so only Naruto could have access to his cards. However, the only drawback is that he clearly lacks a graveyard slot, so Naruto opted to use his deck box as a graveyard. When his friends found out about the new dual disc, they wanted to try it out, but Naruto had told them that Kaiba had ordered him not to use the dual disc until the day of the school duel. Duel Academy, RA Dueling Arena. As Naruto meditated with his cards, the spirits of each of his monsters appeared around him. The blonde smiled and looked at his monsters. I know we will win the school duel. Like Yugi said, trust in your cards and together we can accomplish so much, so let's do this together, he said, causing all the monsters to cheer. If he agrees with their teacher/partner, Naruto-kun, /Naruto-kun, /Naruto-koi. Very familiar voices called out to him. Naruto then turned around to see Judai, Alexis, and Blair running in his direction. Naruto-kun, were you here? Everyone is already together, Judai said, excited about the school duel. What do you mean all together? Naruto asked. The reception. The reception. The reception for the North Campus representative, Blair shouted. Oh no! I forgot, Naruto said in a panic, causing the monster spirits to laugh at their companion's mistake. Naruto then carefully gathered his cards so as not to mix them up, stored them in their respective deck boxes, and then joined his girlfriends. Okay, then let's go, he said, running alongside them. But was all Alexis could say, before Judai followed him while laughing. Blair followed after, leaving poor Alexis behind. Sigh, those three will be the death of me, but that's why I love them, she said to herself as she went out to follow them. On the dock, a submarine was docked at the pier, and Chancellor Shepard, the faculty, and most of the student body were waiting for the arrivals from North Campus. A ramp emerged from the submarine and connected to the pier. The first to exit the submarine was North Campus President Foster Ignos, and a combination of his English and Japanese names. Ah, you've finally arrived, Chancellor Foster, Shepard said as he shook Foster's hand to greet him at Duel Academy. Thank you for taking care of our bad students for a while, Foster said. No, I should thank you, Shepard replied. By the way, Foster said, getting Shepard's attention. Is she okay? Foster asked. Of course. She has someone without whom this interscholastic game couldn't happen, after all, Shepard said. Naruto finally arrived and made himself known. Shepard Dunno, that's enough greeting. I'd like to see who my opponent would be, Naruto said as Judai and Blair finally caught up with Alexis in the rear. Listen, Naruto-kun, you're being rude, Shepard said, but Foster interrupted him. So, this must be the famous son of Maximilian J. Pegasus, Naruto C. Pegasus. I've heard a lot about you, boy, especially about that new deck your father gave you, the one with the new dueling mechanic synchro summoning. Was it? Foster asked. Yes, but after my time here at the Dueling Academy, I will tell my father that synchro summoning was a huge success and will soon revolutionize dueling forever, he said, knowing how well the world would accept the new dueling mechanic. Anyway, who's my opponent for the school duel? He asked. Naruto-kun, Alexis scolded him. Gomi, I just want to hurry up and see who I'm up against, Naruto said, which surprised all of the sane Shepids, as they became aware of Naruto's relationship with the three academy girls, as well as several others through Maximilian Pegasus. It was nice to see that Alexis took to the role of the harem sister quite well, even going so far as to scold not only her harem sisters, but her boyfriend as well when he or they did something wrong. Are you okay? Foster asked. The person you'll be facing, Foster said, but was interrupted by a very familiar voice. It's me. This made everyone look in the direction of the submarine, which was none other than Chaz Princeton. But he no longer had his usual obelisk blue uniform. Now his outfit consists of a slightly tattered black jacket with gray trim and sharp edges over a purple shirt, dark blue pants, and brown shoes. Wow! Chaz? It's Chaz! Jedi said in surprise. It's Chaz! He said in his usual arrogant tone. So, could it be that my opponent in the duel is Chaz? Naruto said. It's the Chaz! She corrected the blonde as the other North Campus students looked at the blonde, though Naruto didn't budge in the slightest. Especially if you were to compare the horrors he's seen before coming to this world, it would be like comparing a swarm of angry killer bees to a swarm of angry kittens. Thunder! The North Academy students said in unison. Listen, first year. We heard you don't address Thunder-san with an honorific. Zar shouted. So how about we teach you a lesson? Asked a spiky-haired Northern Academy student. Oh, nobody wants to tangle with the big boys. By all means, I'd like to see you try it. Naruto said as if he was actually challenging the student to come up to him and teach him a lesson. Naruto-kun! Alexis scolded him. Only this time she walked up to him and tugged on his ear. Oh, Alexis-chan, please stop, you're going to rip it off. Naruto moaned. Maybe I should teach you a lesson. Alexis scolded as everyone's sweat dropped at the sight of one of Duel Academy's top students and duelists being mistreated, or in this case, manipulated by his girlfriend. Chaz cleared his throat, getting everyone's attention. Leave him alone. He's mine, was all Chaz said. Alexis let go of Naruto's ear just as a powerful gust of wind blew across the pier. Everyone heard the sound of helicopter blades and looked up. Huh! What the? Was all Blair could say. Hey, look at that symbol, Foster said, pointing out that on the helicopter was the kanji. Man, that meant 10,000. Oh, come on, it's the Princeton Group Organization, those bastards. Naruto growled. Naruto-kun, do you know them? Judai asked. Yeah, real assholes who have been trying and failing to buy Kaiba Corporation and industrial illusions from my godfather and father, even going so far as to use underhand tactics to get what they want. Fortunately, like I said, they failed. Naruto said, showing how much he hated them. That's right! Shouted Jagger Princeton from his helicopter, and with him was his older brother Slade Princeton. It's been a while, little brother! Have you been doing well? Slade asked Chaz. Slade Jagger, what are you two doing here? Chaz asked. Isn't it obvious, little brother? To give your victory our blessing, Jagger said as his helicopter landed. Don't worry us too much, Chaz, Slade said as a camera crew appeared on a platform. Okay, pretty faces. Let's take a picture. Camera 2. Get a close-up of Chaz next, okay? May I ask what all the commotion is about? Shepard asked as Naruto and his friends looked on in confusion as to what was going on. Huh! Haven't you heard? This year, we'll be broadcasting the Duel Academy Interschool match nationwide, live on television, said one of the cameramen. What? A TV broadcast? Does that mean Naruto-kun will be broadcast all over Japan? Judai yelled excitedly while Naruto just watched without saying a word because he knew his friends and family off campus were no doubt watching this. The cameras then focused on the blonde boy and were shocked to see the famous son of Pegasus here at Duel Academy, and that he was Chaz's opponent for the school duel. Brief Academy, waiting room. After the fiasco at the pier, we find Chaz sitting in one of the waiting rooms talking to his brother. What are you trying to do, Jagger Slade? He asked his brothers. We've decided, haven't we? This TV broadcast is our first plan to fulfill the promise between us brothers. Furthermore, it will help further our goal of humiliating the son of Pegasus and the godson of Seto Kaiba, Slade said. Plan? And what do you mean humiliate the son of Pegasus and the godson of Seto Kaiba? Chaz asked. You see, Chaz, although he never liked Naruto, but he respected the boy as a duelist and having been influenced by some of the best duelists in the world can and will lead to your overall style. That's right, Jagger said. Our dream is to turn the world into the Princeton Empire. To that end, our goal today is to promote you and make you the star of the card world and crush the name of Pegasus in the dirt. Chaz, Slade said. We heard about a Professor Growler who left here 3 months ago, didn't we? Jagger asked. WL, was all Chaz could say, before his brothers attacked him. Are you listening to me, Chaz? Jagger demanded. You were always the bum among us, brothers! Jagger chided Chaz. Since our Princeton Group organization is sponsoring this television broadcast, we simply can't afford to lose, Slade added. Then Jagger held up a briefcase. Here are a bunch of cards our big brother and I spent money putting together. You'll use them and become the ultimate deck and crush that Pegasus brat, Jagger said. Do you understand? Jagger asked as he placed the briefcase on the bench he was sitting on. You'd better not do anything to discredit the Princeton family name, Jagger added before he and his brother left the room, leaving Chaz alone. Meanwhile, Naruto along with Judai, Alexis, and Blair headed to the waiting area while trying to fix him without success as his hair practically defied the laws of physics because no amount of hairspray and brushing could straighten his spiky blonde hair. Man, if we had known you were going to be on TV, we would have been able to do something with your hair, Naruto-kun, Alexis said while holding a brush and comb. We could have even washed it, Blair added, holding bottles of shampoo and conditioner. Now leave Naruto-kun alone, he looks great and besides this wouldn't be his first time on TV. Or have you already forgotten about the exhibition match we had against the Paradox Brothers? Judai asked her harem sisters who looked at her and a look of understanding appeared on Blair and Alexis's faces. That may be true, Judai-chan, but Kaiba-san isn't the one sponsoring and broadcasting this duel, so Naruto-kun needs to look presentable, Alexis argued. Before anything else could be said, Naruto finally spoke up. Girls, it's okay. Besides, I already showered and shaved this morning before heading to Ra's dueling arena, so I'm all dressed up, he said in a neutral tone. This caught their attention. Wait, shaved? Judai asked. He then ran his hand down Naruto's face and felt strands of trimmed facial hair. Oh my god, you have facial hair, she said, now realizing that her boyfriend does have facial hair, surprising her harem sisters. It's not a big surprise after all. I'm 16 and I'll be 17 in October, he said. Wait, your birthday is in October, that means we missed it last year, Alexis said, feeling terrible because she missed her boyfriend's 16th birthday. Now she and her sisters felt terrible. Okay, and besides I love you three and the others, so what more could I ask for aside from that when we graduate from Duel Academy? He asked, hinting at what he meant. All three of them were shocked. Her boyfriend had hinted that he would propose to her when they graduated. Their hearts were beating so fast they could feel their hearts pounding in their chests. They blushed, wondering when he would propose to them and how they would react. And Naruto-kun W'd say yes, said Judai, whose face color imitated a tomato. If that means spending the rest of our lives with you, then yes, I'd be happy to marry you, Alexis added, her hair doing its best to hide her face. Oh, does that mean we'll wear beautiful dresses and go on our honeymoon? Blair asked as the girls' faces turned red as they thought about their own romantic honeymoons and what would happen on their honeymoon night. Now blood was running to their noses as they thought about making love to their boyfriend or future fiancé. At this sight, Naruto chuckled. We can worry about the future later. For now, let's prepare for the school duel, she said as she walked toward the waiting room. The three girls snapped out of their reverie and ran over to Naruto. Waiting room. Inside the waiting room, Chaz was having a hard time. Man, Chaz, he said as he punched the mirror. Just as Naruto was about to enter, he stopped and muted the girls so he could hear what was going on inside. Be brave, Chaz shouted. Come on. Show them that Chaz Princeton is no slouch, that you're worthy of the Princeton name. He scolded himself. That you can win, and you can keep winning, again and again, that you're the best. You have to do your part, Chaz. You have to show them that you're supreme. It's your duty. It's the plan. As Chaz continued to berate himself, Naruto couldn't help but feel sorry for the former Obelisk Blue, as he knew more than anyone. He believed that if he failed, then the names of Pegasus and Kaiba would fall and be dragged through the mud, and their faith in him would weaken, and they would be forced to cut all ties with him. But luckily for him, that wasn't the case, because win or lose, his friends and family would continue to love and support him. However, in Chaz's position, that wasn't the case. To him, failure would mean his family turning their backs on him, thus cutting all ties with him, and leaving him behind to face the backlash on his own. Naruto then walked away and signaled for the girls to follow him, leaving Chaz to his thoughts. Now go win. Go win. Go win, he sang to himself. Duel Arena. Everyone from both North Campus and Duel Academy was present at the dueling arena. Along with the students and staff were guests in the form of Slade and Jagger. Princeton sponsored the duel and the cameramen were broadcasting the duel nationwide, but at the last minute, Seto Kaiba decided to make the broadcast global. So now everyone around the world can watch the school's duel, and thus endorse Duel Academy as the go-to place for upcoming duelists. Of course, this didn't sit well with the Princeton group, but since this institution was funded and owned by Seto Kaiba, they couldn't say no, so they let it go and saw it as an opportunity to further cement themselves as the soon-to-be top power. The crowd was going wild at the prospect of the duel. Dr. Growler stood in the middle of the arena as cameraman filmed what will be the battleground between the North Academy representative and the Duel Academy representative. Chaz Princeton vs. Naruto Crawford Pegasus. And yes, Naruto's middle name is the Japanese name for Pegasus. That's all, student. All the energy. Remember, the whole world is watching this live. Now let's cheer on these duelists, the director said through a megaphone. Go! Thunder-san! Chanted the students of Northern Academy. Same old bet, right, Shepard? Foster asked. Do you remember? He added. Absolutely. After all, old friend, that's what makes it all worth it. Shepard replied, prompting laughter from the two academy chancellors. On the morning floor, Naruto was checking his new dual disc to see if it fit him properly. After giving it one last look, he was about to enter the arena when he was stopped by Judai along with Alexis and Blair. He turned to them, "What is?" and then was interrupted when Judai kissed him on the lips. This shocked everyone and the cameraman took a picture of the couple kissing. Just when they thought it was over, when Judai stopped kissing him, Alexis captured his lips, shocking everyone, even Zane, who was absolutely speechless. Then finally, Blair pulled Alexis away from her boyfriend and took her lips. She pulled away and giggled. "Good luck up there," she said as she joined her harem sisters, leaving Naruto alone, stunned. Meanwhile, Pegasus Castle. Just like in the exhibition match, Pegasus invited Seto, Makuba, Yugi, T, Tristan, Joey, Bakura, Serenity, Mai, Aizashu, Merrick, and Odian to watch the school duel. Alexis Rhodes and Judai Yuki's families were also invited. They were all gathered around Pegasus's massive theater-style television, watching the start of the school duel. And once again, the moneybags decided to broadcast all of this around the world. Joey said, annoyed that he was here again with Seto. "Shut up, fool, and be thankful you're here. I would have left you behind if your sister weren't with my godson's fiancé," Seto said, not even bothering to look in Joey's direction. Serenity, sensing the hostility, pulled out a frying pan out of nowhere and hit it at Joey. "Be nice and Ai-san, or I have to reintroduce you to the discipliner, again," she said in an overly sweet tone, coupled with a smile that hid her true mood. As if it couldn't get any worse, an evil aura leaked from her, and then a Hanya mask appeared behind her. Having the right effect, Joey hid behind Mai in fear. "And no, Nei-sama, I'll be good," he moaned in fear. "Good," she said as the pan disappeared, not noticing that all the men in the surrounding area were also affected by her aura, some more than others, but the girls were wondering if they too could learn this technique, and the men were afraid of having to deal with it. And seriously, where did she get that from and where did it go? "Dear Cammy, that up above was horrible," Tristan said, almost too scared to move. "Gee, that's why Mom said women were considered the scariest beings on the planet," Bakura said, his skin tone almost matching his hair. Clearing his throat, Pegasus got their attention. "If we're done, we can get back to the show," he said as everyone looked at the TV. They then saw the kiss scene. Everyone was shocked that the three girls had kissed the blonde on the lips. Serenity and Aizasha laughed at the sight of them kissing their man, but they knew full well that, on the next family day, they would drag their boyfriend/fiancé into this bedroom, lock the door, and have him place silencing seals. And yes, Serenity knows about his past, and go at it like rabbits in heat. But he and they didn't need to know that. "Wow, talk about staking your claim," Mai said as she blushed at how sincere those three were about their relationship with their man. "Sigh, Judy-chan was always a wild child like her mother," Irika said as his wife gushed. "Ah, you know you love it," Anko said as she hugged her husband. While this was happening, James remembers a time when his wife was just like his daughter, and in a way it made him happy that his wife lived on through their daughter, and he was happy that his daughter had found someone to help her when she needed it, and most importantly he was grateful that Naruto was investigating what had happened to his son, his brother. He thanked Seto many times for investigating the disappearance of Atticus Rhodes, and Seto being the person who told him he was a part of several things he had Naruto investigate during his time at Duel Academy. But deep down he also wanted to know what had happened to those missing children. Well, they certainly didn't waste any time. Yugi said as he watched his godbrother being raped by 3 girls. Yeah, no kidding, lucky punk. Tristan muttered. What was that? Aizishu asked as she too had a similar reaction to Serenity. Nothing, he responded quickly, not wanting to see the dreaded Hanya mask. The other men were also scared because there were now 2 of them. Kaiba was more interested in seeing what his godson would use his new dual disc. Well, it looks like my godson is going to be trying out the new dual disc, he said, drawing everyone's attention. They all looked at the screen and noticed the new dual disc on Naruto's left forearm. Whistle, wow, that's an impressive design, Merrick commented. I know, and if it works I'll mass-produce them, Sito said. And the rich keep getting richer, Joey muttered, which fortunately went unnoticed. Enough of that, let's focus on the match, and from what I see, Naruto will be dueling against the younger brother of the Princeton family, Chaz Princeton, Maximilian said. Princeton, I really hate those guys, Sito growled. I couldn't agree with you more, Kaiba boy, Pegasus said, agreeing with Sito wholeheartedly. Duel Academy. After getting over his daze, Naruto ran over to his side of the dueling ring. Meanwhile, Chaz was being pampered by the North Academy guys. Damn, it's kind of hard to feel sorry for the guy when he acts like a spoiled hitch. It's a shame he's going to be the victim of my original deck. Sorry, 6 samurais. But you're going to take a back seat as I unleash the full power of the blue eyes, Naruto thought as he reached for the deck box with his blue eyes deck. The deck box recognized his prince and opened up, revealing the deck. He took the deck out of the box and started shuffling. Attention, students! Welcome to the school duel, Shepard announced, and now, Foster added, let this year's competition finally begin. They both said. Dr. Growler, present the duelists, he ordered. With pleasure, Chancellor Shepard. After all, these are 2 duelists I know personally. And personally, I adore them, Growler announced, making Naruto sneer, but he let it go. Images of the 2 duelists went around the world. Now first, from Duel Academy, introducing the famous son of Maximilian J. Pegasus and godson of Sito Kaiba himself, Naruto Crawford Pegasus, he announced, causing everyone in Duel Academy to cheer and those who knew the boy to cheer as well. Go Naruto Kyuen! Cheered their girlfriends. Come on, Naruto! You can do it! Cyrus shouted. And his opponent. Before Growler could introduce Naruto's opponent, Chaz interrupted him. Get off the stage, he demanded. Oh, Growler sneered at the utter lack of respect he received from the former Obelisk Blue. I'll introduce myself, Rub, Chaz said as he headed to the dueling arena. I beg your pardon. Scrubs don't have Ph.D.S. in dueling. Although not tying might have been a better career, Growler yelled as the microphone cord wrapped around his legs, causing him to trip and fall, but he was saved by a beautiful woman with long white hair and several braids and blue eyes. The woman was also wearing a beige dress with several white and blue pieces of jewelry. Everyone turned to see Naruto holding the monster card, and his eyes were glowing a bright purple. The card she was holding was Maiden with Blue Eyes, Light Attribute, Level 1, Spellcaster Tuner Effect. When this card is targeted for an attack, you can negate the attack, and if you do, change this card's battle position, then you can special summon one Blue Eyes White Dragon from your hand, deck, or GY. During either player's turn, when a card or effect that targets this face-up card is activated, you can special summon one Blue Eyes White Dragon from your hand, deck, or GY. You can only use one effect of Maiden with Blue Eyes once per turn, and only once that turn. ATK/0DF/0. Thank you, Kizaru, you may be dismissed, he said as the spellcaster nodded after setting the professor down and vanishing into a flash of pixelated lights. This action alone shocked everyone who was already familiar with Naruto's abilities, including those watching the duel on television. Yes, for those of you who don't know, I'm a psychic duelist, but unlike those at that academy, I have full control over my powers, so you have nothing to worry about. And Sayer, if you're watching this, if you ever threaten my family or my friends again, I will unleash the god cards upon you and watch as you are erased until you are nothing but a forgotten memory, he said, his aura leaking with each pore from his body, lending truth to his threat to the Chancellor of the Psychic Academy in Neo Domino City. Neo Domino City, Psychic Academy. Sayer was watching the school duel and clearly heard the threat, and for the first time in his life the man was trembling in fear, because anyone with Naruto's level of power and control could actually summon the 3 god monsters and unleash them. He was truly someone to be respected and feared. And in that moment, Sayer felt true fear. Duel Academy. Naruto took a deep breath and retracted his power. He then faced his opponent, who overcame what had just happened. Well, if you're done, just shut up. Now it's Chaz Princeton's turn. But then I really don't need an introduction, although I wish I was in a duel with that girlfriend of yours, but I guess squashing her little boy toy should be just as satisfying, said Chaz. And besides, everyone here knows who I am, or do you? Chaz asked. Look, Chaz Princeton has changed. Sure, I used to be a classmate of yours. But when I left here, I left my old self behind too. Now you're looking at the new and improved Chaz. The North Academy Chaz, he announced. Thunder SAN, chanted the students of the Northern Academy. This is it. Say it again, he demanded of his fellow Northern Academy students. Thunder SAN! Thunder SAN! The students of North Academy chanted again. Meanwhile, with the Duel Academy team, wow. It's almost like they really like Chaz, Cyrus said, with the students of the Northern Academy. And no mercy, Chaz! They shouted. You got it right! Chaz shouted as the Northern Academy students cheered. All right, go on time. Let's see what you got, fish cake, he said as he turned to Naruto. Naruto growled at the nickname. Oh, I'm going to enjoy crushing you, Naruto said as his new dual disc opened while he put on his headset. And Yugi's dual disc from Yu-Gi-Oh! Dark Side of Dimensions with Kaiba's color scheme again. No, the pleasure's going to be mine, because you're going down, Chaz said. Duel! They shouted. Naruto, 4,000. Chazo, 4,000. As the crowd cheered, North Academy demanded first blood be theirs. Ask and you shall receive, he said as he drew from his deck. For my first move, I'll be summoning a monster with some bite. Rise Mass Dragon, Fire Attribute, LVL 3, Dragon / Effect. When this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon one Dragon-type monster with 1500 or less ATK from your deck. ATK 1400/Def 1100, in defense mode, he said, summoning a dragon with a mask. This made the North Academy crowd cheer. That will do for now, Chaz said. Not once you see what I have for you, and by the way, the deck I'm using isn't my 6 Samurai deck, he admitted in surprise. What do you mean? Chaz asked. Oh, just that I got my original deck from my dad before the exhibition match with the Paradox Brothers, and I have to say, the upgrades were really worth it, he said in a tone that sent chills down everyone's spine. Duel Academy Group. Oh boy, I feel sorry for Chaz now, Judai said, remembering which deck Naruto was referring to. What are you talking about? Isn't the 6 Samurai deck his original deck? Zane asked, confused as to what Judai was talking about. No, Zane, the 6 Samurai deck was his substitute deck, Alexis said, getting Zane's attention. Replacement cover? He asked. Meaning the deck he's been using wasn't his main deck, but a second deck until this real deck was ready. Basically, Pegasus took Naruto's original deck and gave it some serious upgrades, and from what I saw it was terrifying, Judai said. Judai never survived her first turn, she was completely annihilated, Cyrus said, remembering the feeling of helplessness he felt in Judai when he crashed into that deck. Zane was stunned by what he was hearing. What could Naruto possibly be using to scare everyone? The power of that original deck of his must be something both respected and feared. Duel Arena. My turn, draw, he said as he drew from his deck. First I activate Spell Card Exchange, normal spell, discard 1 level 8 monster, draw 2 cards, and discard this card to draw 2 cards, Naruto said as he placed the monster into the deck box / graveyard and drew 2. Then I activate Consonance cards, normal spell, discard 1 dragon-type tuner monster with 1000 or less ATK, draw 2 cards, and send the tuner monster the White Stone of Legend, Light Attribute, LVL 1, Dragon Tuner Effect. When this card is sent to the graveyard, add 1 Blue Eyes White Dragon from your deck to your hand. ATK /300 DF /250 to the graveyard and draw 2 cards, he said while sending the aforementioned card to the graveyard and drew 2 cards. Now I activate the special ability White Stone of Legends. You see, Chaz, every time White Stone of Legend is sent to the graveyard, I can add a certain monster from my deck and add it to my hand, he said as he searched his deck and found what he was looking for. Oh, and what did that loser card help you find? Chaz mocked. Oh, just this, he said as he revealed the card in question, and what he revealed shocked everyone who knew. And no way, that's the Blue Eyes White Dragon, he cried in shock. But how could he have that card? Jagger demanded. My godfather was the inspiration for this deck, and with the upgrades added to this deck, I think I can give him a run for his money. But I haven't faced him yet and I haven't fully mastered this deck. But I digress. But since I revealed a Blue Eyes White Dragon, I can special summon Blue Eyes Alternate White Dragon. Light Attribute, Level 8, Dragon / Effect. Cannot be normal summon / set. Must first be special summoned from your hand by revealing Blue Eyes White Dragon. In your hand? You can only special summon Blue Eyes White Dragon. Alternate White Dragon. Once per turn this way. This card's name becomes Blue Eyes White Dragon, while it is on the field or in the graveyard. Once per turn, you can target one monster your opponent controls, destroy it. This card cannot attack the turn it is activate this effect. ATK 3000/Def 2500 in attack mode. He said as unusual looking blue eyes appeared. But how? Chaz asked. You see, Blue Eyes Alternate White Dragon can be special summoned as long as I reveal a Blue Eyes White Dragon from my hand. It also has a special ability to let you see Chaz once per turn. I can target one of my opponent's monsters and destroy it, so go Blue Eyes Alternate White Dragon and destroy his masked dragon. He ordered his dragon. The dragon then fired a beam of white energy at the masked dragon and destroyed it. Oh well. Because the masked dragon was destroyed by a monster's effect and not by battle, its effect doesn't trigger, but luckily for you, my dragon can't attack the turn it uses its effect. However, I can still summon, so I summon Manju of the 10,000 Hands, Light Attribute, Level 4, Fairy / Effect. When this card is normal summoned or flip summoned, you can target one ritual monster card or one ritual spell card from your deck and add it to your hand. ATK 1400/Def 1000. Said Naruto as he summoned his monster. Now I activate Manju's ability and search for a ritual monster or ritual spell card. He said as he searched for what he was looking for. I now activate the ritual spell card Advanced Ritual Art, ritual spell card. This card can be used to ritual summon any one ritual monster. You must also send normal monsters from your deck to the graveyard whose total levels equal the level of that ritual monster, and send a Blue Eyes White Dragon from my deck to the graveyard to ritually summon Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon, Dark Attribute, LVL 8, Dragon / Ritual / Effect. You can ritual summon this card with Chaos form. It must be ritual summoned, and cannot be special summoned by other ways. It cannot be targeted or destroyed by your opponent's card effects. If this card attacks a defense position monster, inflict double piercing battle damage to your opponent. ATK 4000/Def 0. He said as a wall of blue fire erupted from the ground and from the flames came out of the boss monster's non-extra deck. Naruto, who then let out a powerful roar that shook the walls of Duel Academy. Duel Academy Group. Judai and Alexis, who had seen that monster before, did well to try to hide their surprise, but it was in vain. Had to get that monster out of all things. Judai said, it's no joke, and the sheer power that thing emits. It's no wonder it could rival the Egyptian god cards if given the chance. Alexis added, wait, have you seen that monster before? Zane asked the question everyone in the group was too scared to ask. Hi, Naruto used that monster in his duel against Merrick during our stay at Pegasus Castle in the Duelist Kingdom. Judai said as he remembered the duel. Wait, Merrick, as in Merrick Ishtar from the Battle City tournament? Cyrus asked. Yeah, heck, we even met Sito Kaiba, Joey Wheeler, My Valentine, Odeon Ishtar, Ishizu Ishtar, Bakura, and the king of games himself, Yugi Moto. He added, no fair lucky me. Cyrus complained as Alexis and Judai laughed. Alexis and I also got some of our Battle City photos signed by the famous Battle City finalists. Judai added, it's not fair. His sane group Alexis complained. Hey, I hate to interrupt, but Naruto is about to deliver the finishing blow. Zane said, drawing the attention of everyone in the dueling arena only to see that Zane was true to his word. Duelist Kingdom. The audience watching the match was excited to see Naruto bring out the boss monster from the non-extra deck, though Merrick was a little nervous. Oh man, seeing that thing brings back some really bad memories, said Merrick, wanting to never be in that line of sight of things again. Don't worry, brother, Naruto-san won't bring that monster against you as long as you don't challenge him, said Ishizu, comforting her brother who was having nightmares about that giant, and Naruto laughing similarly to Kaiba. Wow, Naruto really scared you, didn't he? Joey asked. Master Merrick, I'm afraid he's developed a phobia of blue-eyed dragons. Odian replied. So that means dueling Naruto or Kaiba is out of the question for good, huh, Merrick? Yugi asked as Merrick nodded. I know how you feel, dude, Joey thought as he remembered the times he looked a blue eye in the face and took a burst of neutrons while Kaiba laughed. Well, that duel was fast. Sometimes I wish he would drag it out, but since this is a way to humiliate the Princeton organization, I don't see the harm in it. Sito said, a little disappointed that his godson ended the duel in his first turn, but at the same time proud that his ruthlessness has rubbed off on Naruto, and now he is looking down on him to soon fall victim to his dragon's awesome power. Only someone like you would say that, big brother, Bakuba said without taking his eyes off the television. Duel arena. Chaz was in serious trouble. The monster his opponent had summoned had enough attack points to end this duel in one shot, and to make matters worse, it was what it was. His first turn. Naruto was going for a first turn kill, FTK, and he had nothing to stop it. Hey Chaz, no hard feelings, but I'm ending this now. Go Blue Eyes Chaos Dragon Max, end this duel now. Chaotic Maximum Burst Flow. Naruto ordered his dragon. Photons shot out from the dragon's wings and body, but the real danger was the blue steam coming out of the dragon's mouths. Chaz is about to lose. Cut the transmission. Cut now, the director ordered. We can't, sir. The cameras are being controlled remotely. We can't turn them off, one of the cameramen shouted. Then the dragon thrust its head forward and opened its mouth, unleashing a concentrated blue beam, directed at its intended target, Chaz Princeton. Chaz screamed as the lightning struck and launched Chaz out of the dueling arena to the floor below. 4,000 minus 4,000 is equal to 0. Naruto, 4,000. Winner, FTK, Chaz 0. And that's the game, Naruto said as his dragon let out a triumphant roar before vanishing. The Duel Academy crowd cheered the blonde RA Yellow for his one-sided victory against his opponent from North Academy. As Chaz stood up, he was surrounded by his brothers. Loser. Dog, they said, you have dishonored yourself. You have dishonored the name of Princeton. Slade shouted, rebuking his brother. You're not our brother anymore. Jagger added, just give me another chance. Chaz begged. Another chance? Do you know how much we spent on this duel? Jagger asked. The cameras. The rare cards. None of which you used, I might add. But all of that was useless since he destroyed you on his first turn. Slade yelled. I'm sorry, I thought I could win this alone, he said as Jagger grabbed him by the collar of his coat and lifted him up to eye level. Yourself? Jagger demanded. When could you ever do anything for yourself, Chaz? Slade demanded. Let him go, Naruto demanded as he walked towards them angrily at how these two treated his brother. The two older brothers looked at Naruto, who had Cyrus, Bastion, Chumley, Alexis, Jedi, Blair, and Zane supporting him. Yeah, sure, he lost, but how could he not with you two bastards breathing down his neck? Naruto asked. Bastards? Do you know who we are? We don't care if you're the son of that loser Pegasus or the godson of that fool Sito Kaiba, we could crush you, Jagger said. Oh, I wouldn't be too sure about that. Look, when that fool Sito Kaiba, as you call him, tampered with the cameras to broadcast this duel all over the world, he also took control of the broadcast and made sure that the cameras wouldn't turn off unless he sent a shutdown command. And by the way, everything you've said and done so far has been broadcast all over the world, he said with a smile on his face, seeing the surprised looks of Jagger and Slade, who looked at the cameras. Say cheese, losers, and congratulations on digging your own graves, Naruto said as he pulled up a virtual screen from his dual disc that showed the Princeton brothers staring directly into the camera. Furious at the blonde, but knowing they couldn't do anything to him or risk tarnishing his reputation, Jagger left Chaz and went with Slade. It was a good duel, Chaz, and even though it ended quickly, you stood your ground with your head held high like a true duelist, Naruto said as he respected Chaz for using his own cards instead of the ones those fools used. Although he never got to see what Chaz used, Naruto could tell that the cards in his deck were his own and not the ones his brothers wanted him to use. You're just saying that, huh? Chaz asked. I mean, come on, nobody else believes that, Chaz said, already doubting those around him. Thunder SAN! Chanted the North Academy students. Thunder SAN! This time the Duel Academy students joined in. Cliff, afternoon. Slade and Jagger left Duel Academy in hopes of salvaging their reputations. Along with them was the camera crew they hired after Sito gave the order to shut down the cameras. As they departed in the helicopter, Chaz looked out from the cliff. Guess there's just one last matter to settle now, Chaz thought to himself. Doc's afternoon, all members of both academies were present, primarily to bid farewell to the North Academy. Well, idiot, I guess this is goodbye and I'm never coming back, Judai said angrily, remembering all the time he insulted her when she was a Slifer Red. Judai-chan, be nice, Naruto scolded him. Anyway, see you around, I guess, Naruto said, not really caring about the boy since he had very little interactions with him. Naruto-san, I'm not coming back, said Chaz, surprising everyone, mostly those from North Academy. Look, guys, I don't belong to you, Chaz said. So where do you belong? The Tsar asked. Right here. Duel Academy was always my home, Chaz admitted. But you're our best duelist, Chaz, Tsar said, trying to reason with Chaz to come back with them. Are you sure? Asked the Tsar. I am. Will Chancellor Shepard take me back? Chaz said, turning to Naruto and his group. Well, Chaz, you were one of the best students we had. How could I say no? Shepard said, confirming that Chaz was allowed to return to Duel Academy. I guess I'll go, Foster said as he went to retrieve the cards he gave to Chaz, but was interrupted when Dr. Growler's voice came through the microphone. Everyone turned to see a stage with Dr. Growler standing in the middle. May I have your attention, please? He said. And now, to present the award for this year's match between Northern Academy and our esteemed university, I present to you the most beautiful woman on the island, Growler said. But Naruto looked at his girlfriends because he saw them as the most beautiful women on his island. But then again, that was his biased opinion. Miss Dueling Academy! He shouted, drawing everyone's attention. Whoa, that sounds hot, said an excited Cyrus. Be my wingman, okay? Chumley asked. Naruto looked at his friends and chuckled as his girlfriend clung to him, hoping to dissuade the so-called Miss Duel Academy from walking away from her man. And here she is, Growler said, revealing Ms. Dorothy wearing a sleeveless orange dress and red lipstick. She winked at the crowd, causing all the men to face the fall. Miss Dorothy's Duel Academy? Cyrus and Chumley yelled, causing Naruto to laugh at their reaction with his girlfriend following suit. Will the winning Chancellor approach the stage? Growler asked. Chancellor Shepard was seen walking up to the stage and approaching Ms. Dorothy. He stood at her level, and she kissed him on the cheek. A kiss? Is that the prize you were talking about? Judai asked. If the kiss was from someone you love, then I can see that as a great prize, Naruto said as he looked at his girls and kissed them on the lips. They blushed and made plans to get Naruto back. While deep down, Foster was crying for not getting a kiss from Dorothy, but there's always next time. I can't bear to look. Wait for me. I'll be back next year, my lady, Foster shouted as he ran toward his submarine. Is that a girl? Chaz asked, very confused. 15 minutes later, after all was said and done, the North Academy submarine was pushed off and began to return. Both North and Duel Academy were saying their goodbyes. Goodbye, Chaz, shouted the North Academy students. Don't worry, Foster. I'll take good care of her for you, Shepard shouted, to Chancellor Foster's dismay. We'll miss you, Chaz. Das Vidania, Tsar shouted as the rest of North Academy cried at having to say goodbye to not only their best duelist, but a good friend. Thubdurasan, chanted the students of Northern Academy. See you next year, Aoshima shouted. Duel Academy docks. As the group watched the submarine depart from the Northern Academy, Shepard said, There's one thing, Chaz, he said to get the group's attention. What is that? He asked. Flag. Since you dropped out of Duel Academy and are returning, you're technically a new student. And therefore you should start at the bottom at Slifer Red, Professor Banner stated. Slifer? Asked the surprised Chaz. Yes. Welcome. We'll get you a blazer as soon as we get back to the dorm. Then we'll find you a roommate, Banner said. Roommate? Chaz asked again. Professor Banner, if I may make a suggestion, the room Judai and I had when we were with Slifer Red should still be empty, so give him that room until new students arrive, Naruto suggested. Well, I don't see why not, Banner said, Chaz really liking the idea. Good, because Chaz Princeton is rooming alone, said the student. Did you understand that? He asked. Alone, huh? Cockroaches count? Cyrus asked. This, once again, made Naruto question his godparents' mindset in turning Slifer Red into the quintessential passive hitch. What? Chaz asked. Relax, Chaz. I'll call my godfather and see if he can improve Slifer Red's living conditions. I mean, The only reason Slifer Red is in the deep end is because he thought this was a way to get revenge on my god brother, since it was his first Egyptian god card. Naruto noted. That would be appreciated if you could, but knowing Kaiba, I'm not holding my breath. Shepard said, knowing Kaiba wouldn't even bother to fix it. I'm sure he will, especially since I know a secret he's been trying to get out of me for years, so in exchange for said secret I can have him fix Slifer Red's dorm. Naruto said, surprising everyone. Wait, you're going to blackmail Seto Kaiba? Do you have a death wish? Alexis asked. Hey, nothing ventured, nothing gained. Naruto said. Why'd you die, Alexis? Blair, your boyfriend has some serious balls to say that, said Chaz, not believing that this blonde boy was really going to blackmail Kaiba. Sigh, I just hope he knows what he's doing, Judai said, almost wanting to knock Naruto out and drag him back to his dorm, with the others having a similar idea. Chapter 11. Last time. Yes. Welcome. We'll get you a blazer as soon as we get back to the dorm. Then we'll find you a roommate, Banner said. Roommate? Chaz asked again. Professor Banner, if I may make a suggestion, the room Judai and I had when we were with Slifer Red should still be empty, so give him that room until new students arrive, Naruto suggested. Well, I don't see why not, Banner said. Chaz liked the idea very much. Good, because Chaz Princeton lives alone, said the student. Did you understand that? He asked. Alone, huh? Do cockroaches count? Cyrus asked. This, once again, made Naruto question his godparents' mindset in turning Slifer Red into the quintessential passive hitch. What? Chaz asked. Relax, Chaz, I'll call my godfather and see if he can improve Slifer Red's living conditions. I mean, the only reason Slifer Red is in the background is because he thought this was a way to get revenge on my god brother, since it was his first Egyptian god card. Naruto noted. That would be appreciated if you can, but knowing Kaiba, I'm not holding my breath. Shepard said, knowing Kaiba won't even bother to fix it. I'm sure he will, especially since I know a secret he's been trying to get out of me for years, so in exchange for said secret I can have him fix Slifer Red's dorm. Naruto said, surprising everyone. Wait, you're going to blackmail Seto Kaiba? Do you have a death wish? Alexis asked. Hey, nothing ventured, nothing gained, Naruto said. Why'd you die, Alexis? Blair, your boyfriend has some serious balls to say that, said Chaz, not believing that this blonde boy was really going to blackmail Kaiba. Sigh, I just hope he knows what he's doing, Judai said, almost wanting to knock Naruto out and drag him back to his dorm, with the others having a similar idea. Now, it's been some time since the school duel, with Naruto claiming victory for Duel Academy with his FTK against former Northern Academy student Chaz Princeton, who was currently dealing with the Slifer Reds, much to his dismay. Naruto had called his godfather to renovate the Slifer Red dorm to at least decent livable condition. Of course, Kaiba shot down the idea, but when Naruto told him he knew the secret to beating paperwork, Seto relented. He promised Naruto anything for the secret. You see, even though Seto is a calm and collective person, he still hated paperwork with a burning passion. Flashback. Naruto was currently sitting in his dorm on his laptop with his godfather Seto Kaiba, talking about the renovation of the Slifer Red dorm. The answer is no, Seto said. Why not, Seto? The Slifer Red dorm looks like a tool shed with the same structural integrity. I'm surprised it's still standing, Naruto said, trying to convince his godfather to renovate the Slifer dorm. It's not my problem, nor do I care, Seto said as he was about to hang up. Naruto then sighed, as he now only had one option. What if I could give you the means to do your job in less time? He said, getting Kaiba's attention. Oh, and what would that be? Seto asked. But promise me you won't tell anyone. So far only Maximilian Toussaint knows about this, he said as he closed his eyes and revealed his 10 golden tails and his third eye, Rinne. When his eyes opened, they were blue pupils and his irises containing a white floral pattern, Tensigen. All in all, Seto was surprised. Seto, what you see before you is my true form, but we will talk about that later. But I am giving you the power of my world, the power of chakra, and the answer to defeat the paperwork, he said as he opened a rift in space-time and appeared in Seto's office. Amanamanaka, Inner Celestial Government. But how? That was a special ability granted to me by my third eye. It's a Kekii Mora bloodline spanning, but like I said before, we can talk about that later, Naruto said as he crossed the rift and placed his hand on Seto's forehead and another hand on his stomach above his navel. I must warn you, this is going to hurt because I have to create a Kirakuki chakra pathway / meridian system and give you the knowledge on how to use it properly and the ability to do your job in record time. said Naruto as his hands and eyes began to glow. For 15 minutes, Sito had endured the most painful experience of his life. When it was over, Naruto was surprised that Sito hadn't screamed in pain or passed out from said pain. This showed that Sito was willing to endure any pain to prove himself the best. But it still felt like some took an 4 and filled it with battery acid, and said acid traveled through his bloodstream. What did you do? Sito asked weakly. Koifu-sen, gave you the gift of my world. The gift of chakra, Naruto said as his extra features retracted into his body. Chakra? Sito asked. Instead of speaking, a second Naruto appeared behind Naruto and walked over to the desk and picked up one of the papers. This surprised Sito, because he thought the second Naruto was a hologram. But holograms were just shaped codes, so a program couldn't interact with the physical plane. What you see before you is a Kage Bunshin, shadow clone, and with it the answer to defeating the paperwork. I'm actually surprised the Kages of my world haven't realized this yet, he said, causing many people in Naruto's original world to shudder as if the answer to their paperwork had just been revealed, but none of them were there to see it. Oh well, it sucks to be them. So you're saying that these Kages hadn't discovered the answer to each leader's ruined existence? Sito asked as he made the oh-so-familiar hand signs. As he did, 2 clones of Sito Kaiba appeared and almost immediately went to work on signing their paperwork. Apparently, Naruto had also given Sito the means to use Kage Bunshin and the knowledge of the ins and outs of the technique as to not kill him from the strain the technique causes on his new chakra reserves and the mental backlash he would receive once the clones dissipated. So Sito, since I gave you something that not even Maximilian Toussaint has, Naruto said, sigh very well, I'll be okay with the Slifer Red Dorm renovations. After all, with this I can catch up on the various projects that were missed during my absences, Sito said as he picked up his phone and made a few calls to his construction unit at the Slifer Red Dorm renovations in Duel Academy. Meanwhile, Naruto had left his koifu to enjoy his new freedom from paperwork. Flashback on. When Naruto mentioned the cockroach and rat infestations and that some of the students discovered black mold in their rooms, Sito sent a crew to renovate the dorm. The renovations took about a week to complete, and now the dorm looked more like a decent apartment complex than a tattered tools shed where even the slightest breeze could knock everything over. The Slifer Reds and Professor Banner were pleased with the dorm's new look and thanked both Sito and Naruto for improving their living conditions. Our yellow dorm / Naruto's and Judai's room, afternoon. It was nighttime and all the students were asleep. We found our favorite blonde currently sleeping in her king-sized bed with Judai occupying her left side and Alexis occupying her right side and a surprise guest in the form of Blair sleeping on her stomach. Overall, the 4 of them were sleeping peacefully, but unbeknownst to them, the dual spirits were anything but asleep. Naruto's 2 decks along with Judai's, Alexis, and Blair's decks, the dual monster spirits from each deck were having an argument. All the monsters had been sensing something for a while, but weren't sure what it was. So, here they were in the realm of the 6 samurai in Shuren Mist Castle. The 3 Egyptian monster gods were at the center of the discussion, while the 6 legendary samurai were seated at the round table surrounding the gods as they were the vassals of their master, and to prove that what they claim is true their eyes were a metallic purple with rings surrounding a single pupil. For they were the 6 paths of Naruto. Shuren is Naruto's Deva path, Kijiki is Naruto's Azura path, Mizuho is Naruto's human path, Enishi is Naruto's Petra path, Shurnai is Naruto's Naraka path, and finally Kazan is Naruto's animal path. Several monsters came out of each deck, but only the main boss monster and its backups arrived. From Naruto's Blue Eyes White Dragon deck came the maiden with eyes of blue along with herself, Blue Eyes White Dragon, and Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon. From Alexis's deck came Cyber Blader, and its fusion material monster Atoll Cyber, and Blade Skater. From Judai's deck came E, Hero Flame Wingman, E, Hero Thunder Giant, E, Hero Tempest, and Winged Kuribo. Lastly, from Blair's deck came the Maiden in Love. The monsters sized each other up, but knew better than to do anything that would provoke the wrath of God's monsters. As if sensing the tension, Ari spoke. We're here today to discuss a few things, one of which is this sense of dread we've been feeling for quite some time, he said, drawing the attention of all the monsters. I have to agree with Arisama. I feel something is coming and we should prepare for whatever it is. Blade Skater nodded. I agree too, but how should we prepare? We are limited by our ability to communicate with our comrades and the only ones who can understand us are Naruto and Judai, and she is just now learning about her abilities to understand dual spirits. Maiden noted outside. I know she's been having sessions with Naruto Dano, but like Naruto, Judai-sama is a kinetic learner and everything Naruto has taught her may or may not have absorbed, but she's determined to catch up to Naruto Dano. Tempest said. That may be true, Tempest, but Judai-san still has much to learn of what his true potential is, and what I and my fellow gods can sense his latent potential once unlocked can make him Naruto's equal in terms of raw power. Are said, receiving a nod from Slifer and Obelisk. Are-sama, although this topic is of great interest, I believe we still have something else to discuss, said Shiren, drawing the attention of the other monsters. Yes, I apologize, Shiren-san, Are said. Most of the monsters, mostly the ones from Naruto and Judai's deck, knew how humble the gods were, so seeing Are apologize to a lesser monster surprised the monsters from Alexis and Blair's deck, but they chose not to voice their opinion. No apologies needed, Are-sama. What I wanted to address was that Maximilian Pegasus called Naruto earlier today and requested the 6 samurai be sent to him, and Master Naruto agreed to see if his father told him he wanted to make the 6 samurai even stronger than before. So Kizara, I'm entrusting Naruto's safety to you and Blue Eyes, said the 6 samurai boss monsters, shocking the other sane monsters to the god monsters as they were present at the conversation Naruto had with his father through dueling spirit. Kizara overcame her surprise and bowed to Shiren. Hi, Shiren Dano. The others and I are honored to take on the task of protecting Master Naruto, Kizara said as she glanced at Mizuho as if to say, I need to have more time with the master, receiving a light grunt from the red-armored swordswoman. Slifer bedroom, night. Meanwhile, in Slifer's newly renovated dorm, Cyrus woke up to use the bathroom. Toilet bathroom, huh? This isn't. Cyrus, dazed, walked to a door and opened it. Upon opening the door, Cyrus was temporarily blinded by a light, but regained his vision and saw Professor Banner sitting in front of a monitor screen. I think it's time we tried, said a mysterious voice coming through the screen. However, if they end up buried in the tombs, their outstanding talent will unfortunately be lost, Banner said as he looked at the monitor, unaware that Cyrus was eavesdropping. Graves? Cyrus muttered to himself. It would mean he only had that power at that moment. We'll have to put them to sleep soundly in their graves, said the voice coming from the monitor. Cyrus, not wanting to hear any more, quietly closed the door and ran back to his bedroom. Make them sleep in their graves? What could he mean? Cyrus thought to himself as he ran back to his room, unaware that he was being watched by the dormitory pet. Tomorrow. The next day, Naruto had just sent his prize 6 samurai deck to his father to receive the new cards and, from what his father told him, to add new synchronized monsters he had created. Right now, he and his girlfriends and friends were attending classes. Well, Naruto and his harem were attending classes. Cyrus was shaking like he was having a terrible nightmare, and Chumley was pretending to pay attention while eating a grilled cheese sandwich he had made for breakfast, but never got the chance to eat it. And to that end, alchemy in the Middle Ages was used to make gold by mixing chemicals like this, Professor Banner said as he taught his class. The professor poured them from a vial into a flask and mixed the 2 liquids. But the flask glowed orange just before exploding, drawing everyone's attention. Oh no, Professor Banner! Judai and Naruto shouted, worried about the crazy teacher from their old dorm. When the smoke cleared, Professor Banner was fine minus the minor burns on his clothes. But that doesn't mean they can use it, he said before collapsing to the floor due to the failed experiment just as the bell rang signaling the end of class. Naruto then stood up and stretched. Oh man, that was interesting. So how are you, hungry? He asked. Naruto and Nikki, Professor Banner just exploded and all you can think about is food? Cyrus asked in disbelief. Hey, one thing I learned is that you don't mix 2 unstable chemicals together unless you know you'll be fine once it blows up in your face. And besides, Banner looks fine, he said, looking at the instructor as he dusted himself off. Before Cyrus could speak, Banner spoke up. Please wait a second, I want you to take this pamphlet, he said, holding up a stack of papers. What? Is it homework? Judai asked. Even though she and her boyfriend were in the top 10 with their grades and dueling skills, she still hated doing homework since it interfered with her Naruto time. No, it isn't. I've planned a picnic for this Sunday to visit the dormant ruins on the island. I'd like everyone interested to participate, he said, receiving an interested look from Naruto as this was on his list of things to investigate as ordered by his godfather. Sunday picnic. Outside the academy, Professor Banner along with the group consisting of Naruto, Judai, Alexis, Blair, Cyrus, and Chumley. "I'm so glad you all came today!" shouted an excited Banner. "Everyone? There are only 6 of us, you know," Alexis said, seeing that only those she knew decided to show up to this picnic. "Besides that, it's like Professor Banner could bring us here against our will," Cyrus muttered as he turned to Chumley. "I'm still interested in those ancient ruins." "Those ruins are near the volcano, so it's always off limits," Chumley said to get everyone's attention, while Naruto was saying, The only ones who showed up were the ones who attended his class in these ruins. Why is it that my danger sense tells me that my magnet for trouble will lead us on a quest to stop some great evil? Sigh, this feels like home again, except dueling seems to be the key to stopping all of this, Naruto thought to himself, but came back to his senses when Judai called his name. "Naruto-kun, let's go, everyone's already ahead of us," Judai said. Naruto then noticed how far everyone else had come. He ran to catch up with his friends and girlfriends. As they walked, Cyrus spoke up. "I understand that the Slifereds must leave since Professor Banner is the head of our dorm, so why did you decide to join?" he asked. "Those ruins have a dark history. It is said that they even had something to do with shadow games," said Alexis, getting the attention of all the sane Naruto since those ruins were on his list of things to investigate for Seto Kaiba. "Huh! So, they have some connection to your brother's disappearance?" Judai asked. "Well, I don't really know," Alexis said, unsure of Judai's question. "They say these ancient ruins are the tombs of the ancients," Banner added as everyone looked at the images of the ruins on their PDAs. "Graves?" Cyrus mentally screamed as he recalled what he witnessed last night. "Oh man!" Cyrus whispered as he turned to Naruto, who was staring at the ruins with an intense gaze, but called out to him. "Naruto Aniki, there's something bothering me," he said as he pulled Naruto away from the head of the group, which caught everyone's attention, but they chose not to pay much attention to it since Naruto and Cyrus had formed a brotherly relationship for a while now. "Last night, Professor Banner was saying things about burying people in graves and putting them to sleep," Cyrus whispered in a worried tone. Naruto then looked at Banner, not wanting to believe that the nutty professor was that kind of person, but then he remembered when Kabuto was the same, until he was discovered to be a spy for the gay pedophile Sannin Orochimaru. So anything is possible. "Cyrus, for now, calm down about it. If it turns out that Professor Banner was playing us, then I'll be the one to take him down," he said, assuring Cyrus that whatever Banner was planning, he would be there to stop it, one way or another. The short boy sighed in relief knowing that his older brother believed him. "Thanks, Aniki," he said, thanking his older brother for taking care of him. It's been about 45 minutes since the group set out on their expedition to the ruins. After covering a lot of ground and Naruto having to carry Blair, Alexis, and Judai, much to his pleasure and annoyance, he rolled with it since he could touch and feel her ample breasts on his back, as they practically pressed their assets into his back as they felt his body through his clothes. The group has finally arrived at their destination. "We're here," Professor Banner announced, getting everyone's attention. "This is the entrance to the ancient ruins," said the professor, pointing at the ancient man-made structures. "The ruins are a bit messed up," Judai said, making a very obvious pun. "That's why they're called ruins." Alexis scolded her harem sister while Blair and Naruto just laughed at the two's antics. "Inside are what are said to be the most amazing ruins of ancient dueling arenas and tomb ruins," said the nutty professor. "I wonder why the professor is so excited." Cyrus asked to no one, but Naruto noticed the question. "I don't know, Cyrus, but if my danger senses are telling me anything, it's that something big is going to happen and I don't like it," said the blonde RA student. "Well, whatever it is, I'm too tired to care," Chumley said as he pulled a grilled cheese out of his backpack and began to eat. Seeing this, everyone did the same. "Before we really go and explore, let's follow old man Chumley's example and eat," Judai said as he took off his backpack and took out some bento boxes, which he distributed among his harem sisters since he was carrying their lunches. Naruto also took out some bento boxes and gave them to Cyrus, Chumley, and Professor Banner, who at first denied, but then Naruto pointed at Professor Banner's bag and out of the bag appeared the pharaoh who had food in his mouth, meaning the cat ate whatever it was. Professor Banner had packed, so he accepted the lunch and kept the last one. As they ate, Naruto made a plate and placed some of his food on said plate. When asked, he said it was to appease the restless spirits by offering them some food, which was technically true since dual spirits were spirits themselves, so the others did the same, and Naruto watched as the various dual spirits of everyone in their right mind enjoyed their offerings. Though when the banner did the same, Pharaoh simply ate it. As the group enjoyed their lunch, no one in their right mind, the morning spirits, noticed Pharaoh digging in the ground not far from them and unearthing a strange-looking disc whose centerpiece began to glow in a shower of green light. By now everyone had noticed the green light sprouting from the ground. Pharaoh jumped into Professor Banner's arms for protection. Then the light enveloped everyone. "Oh shit, I knew this was going to happen," Naruto mentally growled. As the light dissipated, the sun split into three, forming a triangular formation. What's going on? The sun is splitting!" Alexis cried in shock. Then, the sky erupted into a multitude of colors similar to the northern lights. "What's that?" Blair asked. "I've never seen a natural phenomenon like this," Chumley said. "That's because this isn't natural," Naruto said, getting everyone's attention. "What do you mean, Naruto-kun?" Judai asked. Naruto said nothing, but closed his eyes and called upon his psychic abilities, causing Winged Kuriboh and Blue Eyes White Dragon to come to life, surprising everyone. "How?" everyone asked. "If we were still in Duel Academy, that would have exhausted me to the point where I'd be in bed all day. We're probably at a nexus where our world and the spirit world meet," Naruto said as he held his hand petting Blue Eye's head, making her purr. "Wait, she purrs. Since when does the most powerful normal monster to ever exist purr?" As everyone watched in shock, Winged Kuriboh landed on Judai's shoulder. "Kuriburi!" The winged ball rang out, drawing Judai's attention. "Huh? Danger? Are you saying we should run away?" he asked his dual spirit. As this happened, Blue Eyes raised his head and growled at his time with his master being interrupted. Then the sky brightened, and a crash of thunder was heard. "Everyone run!" Professor Banner ordered. "Let's go," Alexis said as she led the group with Winged Kuriboh and Blue Eyes White Dragon bringing up the rear. "Run to the ruins!" the professor shouted. While everyone else ran, Naruto and Judai stayed and looked up at the sky. "Naruto and Nikki, Judai and Nikki, come in quickly!" Cyrus shouted. "It's pretty tight in here," Banner commented. "Everything's going to be okay. You're Judai-chan and I will be fine. We have our dual spirits to help us," she said in Judai. Winged Kuriboh and Blue Eyes White Dragon agreed with the blonde. Then the group of four ran off. "Naruto Kyuen! Judai-chan!" Alexis and Blair shouted worriedly for their lover and harem sister. "It's no use," Chumley told Alexis and Blair. Both Naruto and Judai ran, but were caught by a blinding white light. Several minutes later, both Naruto and Judai woke up to see their dual spirits watching over them to make sure nothing bad happened to them. The two then noticed a pyramid in front of them. "Oh, what's that doing here?" Judai asked. Curry. Winged Kuriboh interjected. "I don't know, but I think we'll find out soon enough," Naruto replied as Blue Eye let out a soft growl. The two turned around and noticed that the ruins were not as ruined as Judai said before. "That arched door," Judai pointed out. "It's the same one we saw before," Naruto said. Before anyone could say anything, Blue Eyes turned his head and growled, drawing everyone's attention. "You four! This is sacred ground, and you shouldn't be here. You need to leave here immediately," the woman said, but backed away when she saw the dragon position itself in front of Naruto protectively. Naruto then placed a hand on the dragon to calm it down. "It's okay, big girl," Naruto said, assuring her that nothing would happen to her. The dragon wanted to protest, but he knew his master well, so he let out a soft growl and stood behind him. "You're not from Duel Academy, are you?" Judai asked. "Curry," chirped the winged air ball. Before the woman could say anything, the group was surrounded by soldiers wearing armor and carrying familiar spears. "The Gravekeeper, I should have known," Naruto growled at the revelation. This caught everyone's attention for his morning spirit. "Do you know about us?" the woman asked. "Of course you do, Grave Guardian Raider. You're a type of arch that focuses on protecting graveyards from being tampered with, hence the name," the blonde said, causing the monsters to flinch as he identified who they were. "Then you know this place is the tomb of the sacred royal family. Those who set foot in the tomb without permission will be buried alive in the tomb," said the woman now known as Gravekeeper's assaultant. "Then I suggest you take us to where the others are, or I'll have Kizaru reduce the tomb to rubble, your choice," Naruto threatened as the dragon's mouth began to glow blue. The woman sighed and ordered the soldiers to retreat. "Then you two will also be buried alive here, come this way," she ordered, force of time. The four then stood before the chief and he wasn't too happy about the intruders disturbing the royal family's tomb. He and Naruto argued about releasing those he had captured into his custody, but the chief refused, so Naruto challenged him to a duel where if he wins then those the chief captured would be freed, but if he loses then he will take their place. At first Judai argued against it but stopped when Naruto kissed her and promised that he would win. As Naruto stood on the other side of the mausoleum he looked down and saw his friends and loved ones wrapped up and put into the sarcophagus. This angered Naruto greatly, but he decided to continue with this duel to save them. Naruto vs. the Gravekeeper's boss. Naruto, 4000. GK Chief, 4000. Naruto-kun! Alexis and Blair shouted from the coffins they were in. Naruto and Nikki, please win! Cyrus shouted. Mark my words, I'll get you out of there! Naruto promised. Duel / let the ritual begin! The two shouted. I'll start this duel draw, said the GK boss as he drew his card. Old man, are you really taking ordinary duel monsters seriously? Judai asked from the side. No, Judai, this isn't just a duel, it's a game of shadows and those below are the price and we if we lose, said Naruto, receiving a horrified look from Judai. I see, so you're aware of what will happen if you fail. I'll summon in face-down defense mode, said the GK boss as he ended his turn. I know what's at stake here, so I'm not going to lose. Draw, the blonde said as he drew. I activate the Dragon's Awakening Melody, normal spell. Discard 1 card. Add 2 Dragon-type monsters with 3000 or more ATK and 2500 or less def from your deck to your hand. By using this I can discard a card and add 2 Dragon-type monsters with 3000 or more attack points and 2500 or less defense points, Naruto said as he discarded a card, then searched his deck for what he was looking for. Naruto then revealed what he was looking for. A copy of Blue Eyes White Dragon and a Blue Eyes alternate White Dragon. Now then, I reveal my Blue Eyes in my hand to special summon my Blue Eyes alternative White Dragon. Light attribute, LVL8 Dragon / effect. Cannot be normal / set summoned. Must first be special summoned from your hand by revealing Blue Eyes White Dragon. In your hand, you can only special summon Blue Eyes alternative White Dragon once per turn this way. This card's name becomes Blue Eyes White Dragon while it is on the field or in the graveyard. Once per turn, you can target one monster your opponent controls, destroy it. This card cannot attack the turn this effect is activated. ATK / 3000 DF / 2500 in attack mode, he said as he summoned his dragon. The dragon let out a roar as it was summoned, scaring the GK. But how? Asked GK's boss. You see, the Blue Eyes alternative can be special summoned whenever I reveal a Blue Eyes White Dragon from my hand. It also has a special ability, so you see that once per turn I can target one of my opponent's monsters and destroy it. So go Blue Eyes, destroy it face down, he ordered his dragon. The dragon then fired a beam of white energy at the face down GK boss monster, revealing it to be the Tomb Guardian and destroying it. Now you're wide open, but first I activate the spell card polymerization, normal spell. Fusion summon one fusion monster from the extra deck, using monsters from your hand or your side of the field as fusion material, to give rise to a new monster using the Blue Eyes alternative on the field and the 2 Blue Eyes White Dragons in my hand, Naruto said as his 3 dragons combined. And if you do, destroy that card. ATK / 4500 DF / 3800 in attack mode, he said as he fusion summoned his 3-headed dragon. But wait, I'm not done yet. I now activate Chaos Form, Ritual Spell card. This card can be used to ritual summon any Chaos Ritual monster or Black Luster Soldier. You must also tribute monsters from your hand and or banish Blue Eyes White Dragon or Dark Magician from your graveyard, whose total levels exactly equal the level of the Chaos Ritual monster or Black Luster Soldier. You ritual summon and banish the White Dragon from my graveyard to ritual summon Blue Eyes Chaos Dragon Max, Dark Attribute, LVL. 8 Dragon / ritual / effect. You can ritual summon this card with Chaos Form. It must be ritual summoned and cannot be special summoned by other ways. It cannot be targeted or destroyed by your opponent's card effects. If this card attacks a defense position monster, inflict double piercing battle damage to your opponent. ATK 4000 / def 0. Naruto said as a portal opened to reveal the futuristic dragon, who then let out a mighty roar. The two powerful dragons looked at the Gravekeeper's boss, and the poor man was sweating profusely because his only means of defense was gone, and he was now wide open for a direct attack. You attacked my precious people, that is something I can never forgive you for. Feel my full wrath through my monsters. Go Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon and Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon attack their life points directly. Chaotic Maximum Burst and Triple Ultimate Burst of Annihilation. Naruto ordered his second dragon to attack. The dragons then opened their mouths and fired beams of white light directly at the boss. 4,000 plus 4,500 is equal to 8,500. GK boss. 4,000 minus 8,500 is equal to minus 4,500. GK boss 0. Naruto. 4,000. Winner. OTK/FTK. After winning the duel, Naruto was giving her a broken pendant, and the GK chief told him that one day he would meet the one who had the other half. There was a blinding flash of light, and everyone was lying just outside the ruins. At first, everyone thought it was all a dream, but Naruto felt something hanging around his neck and looked down, and saw the broken pendant that the GK raider had given him. He then looks over his shoulders and sees Kazara with winged Kuribo on her shoulders, nodding her head as if to say, whatever comes, we'll be there for you. She smiled and joined the others as they made their way out of the ruins, unaware that this was merely the catalyst for what was to come. Chapter 12. After winning the duel, Naruto was giving her a broken pendant, and the GK chief told him that one day he would meet the one who had the other half. There was a blinding flash of light, and everyone was lying just outside the ruins. At first, everyone thought it was all a dream, but Naruto felt something hanging around his neck and looked down, and saw the broken pendant that the GK raider had given him. He then looks over his shoulders and sees Kazara with winged Kuribo on her shoulders, nodding her head as if to say, whatever comes, we'll be there for you. She smiled and joined the others as they made their way out of the ruins. Little did they know that this was merely the catalyst for what was to come. Now, it was the darkness of night, and the moon was full, but with a blood-red hue, symbolizing the impending doom to come. In a cavern, 7 figures shrouded in darkness stood together as they listened to the words of their master. Our enemies have been tested, our allies are in place. The hour is upon us. It is time to cover the world in shadows. Now, which of you shall lead us into battle? Asked the leader. I'll be the first to go, master. After all, my deck's rival is on that island and wants to settle an old score. The masked man said as his deck glowed a deep crimson. Very well, Night Shroud, you must go. The voice said. Thank you for this opportunity, master, said the now named Night Shroud as he bowed to his mysterious master. The man stepped out of the shadows, wearing a tight-fitting coat with raised shoulders and waist and gold and green trimmings, and his dark dragon mask, similar to the one worn by his signature monster. Radice Darkness Dragon is completely black with the exception of its blue eyepieces and a red stone in the center of its forehead. In this incarnation, the bangs closest to his face are positioned in front of the mask. Around his neck is a pendant that has been snapped in half. I will not fail you. The Academy's prized possessions will be ours, he said as he placed his dual disc and activated it. Duel Academy. It was a stormy night at Duel Academy, and only the Chancellor could say that this storm was simply a harbinger of what was to come. The Chancellor stared intently into the storm and saw a mysterious flying object, but he knew very well what or who it was, and he didn't like it one bit. And so begins the fight for the sacred beasts, the Chancellor said to himself. Duel Academy, RA dormitory. As the storm rolls in, our blonde hero was fast asleep with Judai and Alexis snuggled up to his sides and Blair sleeping on his chest. As they slept, the pendant around Naruto's neck began to glow, catching the attention of the dual spirits. They looked at each other and realized that trouble can't be far behind them, and with some knowing Naruto and his double-edged luck, he was going to be in the middle of whatever was to come. The next day, everyone was attending Professor Banner's class. Cyrus was updating his PDA, Naruto was updating his deck along with Judai and Alexis, while Chumley was busy taking notes. Judai then put away his mallet and took out a lunchbox. I made a picnic for us, Naruto-kun, so after class we can go. But the crazy teacher interrupted her. Just a moment, Judai-san, your picnic with your boyfriend will have to wait. It seems Chancellor Shepard has asked you, Naruto Pegasus, Alexis Rhodes, Bastion Masawa, and Chaz Princeton to meet him in his office. The teacher announced with a worried look, but when she heard the list of names, she and Naruto exchanged a serious look. Naruto-kun, Judai said as he turned to his boyfriend. I know, was all he said as he stood up with her following his example. Hey, only I can do that, yelled Chaz, who wanted to do the get out of class thing. Give him a break, will you? Alexis said as she got up from her seat to follow her boyfriend and harem sister, annoyed with the former obelisk student. Whatever's going on somehow involves the one's banner called, and judging by Naruto's expression, something tells me he might know something. Bastion thought to himself as he too stood up and followed him. Duel Academy, Chancellor's office. Professor Banner along with his class group along with Professor Growler and Zane stood in front of the Chancellor. Three sacred, what now? Judai asked in confusion as she turned to her boyfriend only to see that he looked absolutely livid. The three sacred beast cards Judai and are considered the spiritual successors of the Egyptian god cards. Uriah, Lord of Searing Flames, the spiritual successor of Slifer the Sky Dragon. Raviel, Lord of Phantasms, is the spiritual successor of Obelisk the Tormentor, and Hammon, Lord of Striking Thunder, is the spiritual successor of the Winged Dragon of Ra. Each of them are powerful in their own right but are considered vassals of the god cards. Naruto said, surprising everyone, especially Shepard. How did you? Shepard tried to ask. Chancellor, my godfather is Seto Kaiba, who not only owns Duel Academy, but also gave me information about those cards. My father is Maximilian Pegasus, who created those cards to contain their power, and I possess the ability to see and summon dual spirits as well as the ability to feel negative emotions, and ever since I arrived I felt them stirring as if waiting for the chance to be free, said Naruto, surprising everyone. Shepard was the first to recover as he cleared his throat. Yes, and these titans are sealed here like Naruto said. You see, one of the reasons this academy was built was to protect the cards in case those cards ever see the light of day. It could mean the end of the world as we know it, Shepard said in a somber tone, scaring everyone except Naruto. So what if those cards come out? I have their Egyptian counterparts, and they've been listening in on this entire conversation, Naruto said as he summoned the monster god to appear outside of Chancellor Shepard's window, which of course shocked everyone. Naruto, Judai, and surprisingly Alexis, who saw Naruto perform such a feat once before, and even though Naruto summoned a dual spirit, namely during the school duel against North Academy, it's still shocking to see this young teenager call upon the three most powerful monsters in all of duel monsters. The monsters let out a mighty roar before fading away, and Naruto fell to the ground. Naruto-kun, are you okay? Judai asked worriedly, with Alexis helping her man up from the ground. Why, yeah, I forgot that summoning monsters as powerful as god monsters takes a lot of energy. But I wanted to get my message across. These sacred beasts better stay imprisoned or this can get really ugly really fast, Naruto said with a cocky smile. And that's why I called you here, Naruto Pegasus, Judai Yuki, Chaz Princeton, Zane Truesdale, Alexis Rhodes, Bastion Masawa, and Professor Vermilion Growler to protect these cards from the bad guys, Shepard said. The evil ones? Zane asked. That's right, 7 duelists caught the Shadow Rider's covetousness for these sacred cards, and I'm afraid one of them made his way here to the Dueling Academy during last night's storm, Shepard informed the group. Bastion added. Naturally. Okay, so how do we protect these cards anyway? Alexis asked as she and Judai held her boyfriend, making Chaz glare at Naruto for stealing his honey bun. Guarding the 7 spirit gates. You see, to get to those cards, one must unlock them, acquire the 7 keys to the lock. That's how you'll protect the cards, by protecting the keys, Shepard said, as he pulled out a black box. Here they are, one for each of you, he said, earning gasps from Naruto's sane group. So basically, we have the keys, doesn't that make us targets? Bastion asked. That's Bastion Point, and with those keys in the possession of the Duel Academy's best duelists, we'll have a chance to weather this storm, Naruto said in a serious tone, getting everyone's attention. As Naruto said, with these keys in your possession, the Shadow Riders will come after you, Shepard said, making Naruto's previous statement more evident. Find us, you mean eliminate us, argued Chaz, who didn't like being used as a meat shield. Only in a duel, Shepard said. A duel? Bastion asked, surprising all the sane Narutos who learned this through their dual spirits. That's right, fortunately for our side of the war, the keys can't simply be taken. An ancient edict mandates that the keys must be won in a duel, and as Naruto pointed out, I've handpicked the best duelists on the island to protect the keys and by extension, protect the world, Shepard announced. Well, 6, but we needed a 7th member, so, the Chancellor muttered, looking at Growler. So if the, Shepard said, but was cut off when Naruto stepped forward, opened the box, and took one of the keys from the box and hung it around his neck along with the half of the medallion he won from the Great Keepers. "I'm not backing down from this fight, so count me in," the Pegasus heir said with an air of confidence and, from the Chancellor's point of view, experience. Then, like a domino effect, the others, unwilling to back down, especially in front of Naruto, stepped forward and took a grapple for themselves. After everyone took a headlock, all the sane Naruto were arguing over who would duel first in a childish manner, but Naruto was deep in thought and never took the serious look off his face. "Take this as some kind of joke, Judai Alexis. Please take this seriously, or you guys might be the ones who won't be coming home. Because I won't always be there to save you," he thought worriedly, because those here don't know the horrors of war, and this war will be no different from the one he experienced during the Fourth Great Shinobi War, the only difference being that he and his comrades had the chance to save the world. Duel Academy, night. On the roof of the RA dorm, Naruto, along with his dual spirits, looked at the stars while also looking at the blood-red moon, which he knew was a sign of impending death. Naruto then sighed and proceeded to head back to the bed where Judai was currently in, but stopped when a bright light enveloped him and unknowingly Judai and Alexis, who was on her way to sleep with her boyfriend. As the light faded, Naruto found himself on a platform floating over the lava pool inside the volcano, and to his right, he saw Judai and Alexis in a bubble that appeared to be made of the same material as the platform he was currently standing on. "What's going on?" asked a distressed Judai. "Don't worry, girls, I'm coming," Naruto shouted as he ran towards his lovers, but he stopped and a blast of fire hit him in the back and knocked him to the floor of the platform. "Naruto Kyuan!" the girls shouted. Naruto was getting up when he heard a voice. "Oh, so they are important to you, that's good. It means you have something else to fight for instead of the world's faith," the voice said, causing Naruto to grunt. His shirt burned off, revealing his naked upper body, and on his back was the spot where he was hit by the fireball, but the wound was already healing at an alarming rate, which surprised the girls. A fireball erupted in front of him, and from the fire emerged the first of the Shadow Riders. "So, you finally decided to show yourself," Naruto growled. "Very insightful of you. The name is Night Shroud, and I will win that key from you," he said as he activated his dual disc. "You're putting my loved ones in danger, that's why." Naruto then bit his thumb and slammed the bleeding finger onto his left wrist. Then what seemed like magic, his dual disc appeared out of thin air. "I will never forgive you!" Naruto yelled as chakra surged out of his body. Naruto's features began to change like before during the promotion match, and behind him was the silhouette of a titanic beast with 10 tails and 3 eyes looking at Night Shroud. The girls had seen Naruto angry before, but this was rage, pure, unadulterated rage, and Night Shroud had somehow managed to bring the rage out of Naruto. Naruto, sensing his lover's fear, provoked his rage, but he was still furious at the man in front of him. Night Shroud managed to regain his bearings, but he was still wary of the boy, the being before him, because no human being can possess such rage that it would manifest in such a manner. So, after some more taunting from Night Shroud, including the threat of losing his soul, Naruto activated his new dual disc and slid his mallet into the mallet holder. Naruto vs. Night Shroud. Duel! They both shouted. Naruto, 4000. Night Shroud, 4000. "I'll start this shadow game if you don't mind. I summon Troop Dragon, Wind Attribute, Level 2, Dragon / Effect. If this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard as a result of battle, select and special summon one Troop Dragon from your deck to your side of the field. Then shuffle your deck. ATK 700/Def 800 in defense mode and set a card face down, and that ends my turn," said Night Shroud, ending his turn. Not a bad first turn, but not good enough for drawing. I activate the spell card Pot of Desires spell card. Banish 10 cards from the top of your deck face down. Draw 2 cards. You can only activate one Pot of Desires per turn. With this I banish the top 10 cards of my deck, then draw 2 cards. Naruto explained the effect as he drew 10 cards from his deck and stored the cards in his deck box. "Why would you purposely cut your own deck?" asked Night Shroud, who was confused as to why anyone would cut their own deck. "You can see it as a risk, but I see it as a way to get my resources faster, and with the 2 cards I drew I'd say it was worth it because I now reveal a Blue Eyes White Dragon in my hand to special summon alternate Blue Eyes White Dragon, 3000/2500. Naruto said as he summoned his dragon, getting a growl from his opponent seeing his eternal rival in his deck. Then I normal summon Manju of the Thousand Hands, 1400/1000, and use its effect to search for a ritual monster or ritual spell card, he said as he searched his deck for what he needed. English. I now activate the ritual spell card Advanced Ritual Art, and send the blue eyes from my hand to the graveyard to ritual summon Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon, 4000/0. He said as he summoned one of the boss monsters from his deck. Seeing this behemoth of a monster in front of him, Night Shroud was starting to regret his decision on his first opponent, but his opponent wasn't finished, and that's what scared him even more. I activate the spell card Return of the Dragon Lord's spell card. Target one level 7 or 8 dragon-type monster in your graveyard. Special summon it. If a dragon-type monsters you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. To revive an old friend, so say hello to the one and only Blue Eyes White Dragon, 3000/2500. Naruto announced as his dragon burst from the grave with a mighty roar. Now Night Shroud was in trouble. In one turn his opponent had summoned 4 powerful monsters, and what was worse, he hadn't attacked yet. For taking my loved one hostage, Night Shroud, I'm going to end you right here, right now. Go Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon, attack and end this duel! Naruto shouted as his monster began to charge up its attack. What do you mean? My dragon is in defense mode, my hit points are safe. Night Shroud argued. True, but when my dragon attacks a monster in defense mode it deals double piercing damage, so after my dragon attacks you're done, Naruto said, getting a surprised reaction from Night Shroud, who at this point knew he'd screwed up big time. The dragon then launched its attack against the Night Shroud's monster and destroyed it upon impact, along with its life points. Aya! Night Shroud screamed as the attack. 8,000-800 is equal to 7,200. 4,000-7,200 is equal to -3,200. Naruto, 4,000. Night Shroud 0. Winner, Naruto Pegasus via FTK and OTK. With Naruto declared the victor, Night Shroud's soul was sealed within a card. Everyone was then transported from the lava lake to the base of the volcano. Naruto was about to search for Judai and Alexis when a sudden surge of pain shot through his body, causing him to collapse and lose consciousness. Judai and Alexis, who were not far from Naruto, saw him collapse and ran towards him. Naruto Kyuan! They shouted as they ran to their lover. When they reached him, they turned him over and checked if he was okay. Alexis checked his pulse, and Judai pressed his ear to his heart. The two sighed in relief knowing their man was going to be okay. I don't understand, why is this? Alexis asked. Naruto told me that a shadow game causes real damage, so maybe that fireball did more damage than it was capable of healing. You saw him heal at an alarming rate, Naruto-kun, maybe it's something else. Judai said, not wanting to believe that his boyfriend has been keeping secrets from them. Judai, I know everyone is entitled to their own secrets, so you may have a reason for keeping what we saw hidden, Alexis said, trying to reason with her harem sister. I know, I just hope he trusts us enough to tell us, Judai replied. Alexis then notices a card on the floor and goes to pick it up. When she picks it up, she sees Night Shroud's mask on the card. At least we're safe from him, she says. Alexis then approaches Night Shroud's unconscious form, and what shocked her to tears. It can't be, she stammered as tears fell from her eyes. Naruto-san, Judai-san, wait, we're coming! Bastion shouted as he, Zane, and Chaz ran towards the group. What happened? Chaz asked as Judai held Naruto's unconscious form close to her. Naruto-kun was challenged by Shadow Rider to a shadow game to save Alexis and me, who were taken hostage, Judai explained with tears in his eyes. Seeing you're okay, I guess he won, Chaz noted. He did it, but he took a hit from Night Shroud and now he's like this, Judai said, remembering how he was attacked from behind by a fireball. So that's him? The Shadow Rider? Zane asked when he saw Alexis with the Shadow Rider. When Zane approached, Alexis was hugging the Shadow Rider, crying. Alexis? Zane asked. It's him, Zane, it's him. I don't know how to understand, but it's him, he said while crying. When Zane saw the Shadow Rider, he was also surprised. And no way, Zane tried to say. I thought I had lost him, but he's back. He's finally back. Atticus, my brother is back, he said while hugging his unconscious brother. The sun rose over the horizon, revealing a new day, but also another day where the Shadow Riders attacked, and with Naruto out of commission, everyone wondered if they would survive the storm without being rescued or if they would be swept away by the storms. Maybe, Chapter 13. So that's him? The Shadow Rider? Zane asked when he saw Alexis with the Shadow Rider. When Zane approached, Alexis was hugging the Shadow Rider, crying. Alexis? Zane asked. It's him, Zane, it's him, I don't know how, but it's him, he said, crying. When Zane saw the Shadow Rider, he was also surprised. And no way, Zane tried to say. I thought I had lost him, but he's back, he's finally back. Atticus, my brother is back, he said while hugging his unconscious brother. The sun rose over the horizon, revealing a new day, but also another day where the Shadow Riders attacked, and with Naruto out of commission, everyone wondered if they survived the storm without being rescued or if the storm took them. Maybe. Now, we arrive at an area shrouded in thick fog, covering a lake. Above the lake, a crescent moon, and on the lake, there is a single boat surrounded by swarms of bats. On the boat is a coffin covered in white cloth. When the lid of the coffin is opened, a woman whose attire consists of a long dress, showing her cleavage with long slits that reveal the side of her legs, straps that cross her arms just below her shoulders attached to a cape, and bat brooches below her cleavage and above the slits, gold armbands and bracelets on both arms, and lace-up high heels that continue to her shins. She has long, straight, waist-length green hair with a large curl over her forehead and yellow eyes. She looks up at the night sky and smiles toothily while letting out a sadistic laugh. Little did she know that she was about to meet her fate. Duel Academy, Infirmary. Here they find Naruto still unconscious from his duel with Night Shroud, who revealed himself to be Atticus Rhodes, the long-lost brother of Alexis Rhodes, sleeping in the bed next to Naruto. Beside his bed were his friends and his girlfriends, though Alexis and Zane were also here to check on Atticus. When they examined Naruto, they noticed that his back felt warm, so when they took off his shirt, what they saw shocked and horrified them. His back resembled those who suffered severe first and second-degree burns, and what shocked them the most was that the wounds were already beginning to show signs of healing. No one can heal that fast, right? So, Fontaine applied some burn ointment and wrapped him in bandages, though he really had to hold back a blush since Naruto's body was the definition of perfection, something that Chaz Prington envied, and if he was honest, Zane did too. While Naruto rested, Judai and Blair curled up on either side of their blonde boyfriend, while Chaz and Alexis watched them jealously. A few minutes later, Naruto's eyes opened and he sat up, surprising everyone. When Naruto sat up and broke free from Judai and Blair's grasp, he winced in pain. Naruto-kun/Naruto-kun! Both Judai and Blair yelled. Cyrus approached his friend. Naruto Anakai, are you okay? He asked, hearing Naruto moan in pain. I had a vision, a woman dressed in red on a boat in the middle of a large body of water, Naruto said, but was interrupted by Ms. Fontaine as she came in to check on Naruto, who also failed to notice the fact that both Judai and Blair were staring at him for dreaming about other women when he had Serenity, Alexis, and the two of them. Ms. Fontaine, how about Night Shroud? I mean Alexis's brother? Naruto asked. The obelisk blue dorm girl's teacher turned to where Alexis and the now resting Atticus Rhodes were standing, along with Zane standing at the bedside of their long-lost friends. I'm afraid he hasn't woken up yet, though he's out of danger, so he should be making a full recovery, she said, earning a sigh of relief from Naruto before lying back down, much to Judai and Blair's pleasure and Chaz and Alexis's annoyance. Meanwhile, Camula wasted no time summoning her bat familiars. Go, my minions, and find me my prey, the one who defeated Night Shroud, she ordered as her bats followed her orders. She then peered into the water and saw images of the blonde with the divine monsters on her back. He has piqued my interest, she said as she lustfully gazed at the image of the one she would claim as her own. The next day, throughout the school, rumors of a female vampire appearing had spread. Now normally this would just be a hoax, but a few knew what it was. A Shadow Rider appeared, not long after the first one was defeated at the hands of Naruto, who was still in the infirmary. The others were in Chancellor Shepard's office to discuss the appearance of the vampire Shadow Rider. Vampire! Chaz explained. I'm afraid those rumors may not be rumors after all, Shepard said. Oh my God! Professor Banner said in a worried tone. Please, it's a practical joke, Growler shouted, unable to believe what he was hearing. But the others had a very different opinion than Professor Obelisk. A joke? It wasn't a joke that put Naruto in the hospital, Bastion said. Do you think she's a Shadow Rider? Zane asked the question everyone wanted to ask. Maybe, so listen, keep an eye out for anything strange. And where's Judai? Shepard asked as she looked at those with the spirit keys. She hasn't left Naruto's side and neither has Blair, Zane replied, nodding to the Chancellor, as he knew those two truly loved that young man. The same could be said for Alexis, but she was more concerned with tending to her brother, but that's to be expected. Meanwhile, as everyone prepared for the encounter with the Shadow Rider, they were unaware that Camula's bat familiars were spying on them. While her bat spied on the duelists holding the spirit keys, she had a spy she wished to claim as her partner. With Naruto. Naruto had gone back to sleep and hadn't woken up since the night before, which worried the girls, especially when he got a fever. Which surprised them because from what Maximilian told them, Naruto never got sick, so seeing him get a fever was truly a shock. Judai placed a wet rag on Naruto's forehead while Blair went to fill the basin with fresh, cool water. While this was happening, they noticed Alexis and Cyrus approaching them. "How is Naruto-kun?" Alexis asked. "Aside from the fever, he hasn't woken up since last night," Judai said in a worried tone. "Oh," Alexis said, worried about her shared blonde boyfriend. "How's your brother?" Blair asked as she reappeared with a container refilled with fresh water only to get a sad look on Alexis's face. "He's still the same as when he arrived, but I hope he gets better," he said. "Hey Alexis, if your brother is like Naruto Niki or Zani Oni-san, he'll pull through, you'll see," said young Thursdaydale, encouraging Alexis, if only a little. "Thanks, Sai." While this was happening, one of Camilla's bats was spying on the entire interaction before flying off to report its findings to its owner. With Camilla was currently taking a bath, wanting to be clean for when she ran into her blonde target. Just the thought of having that boy dominating her in a way only an alpha would rub her thighs together. Just as she was about to have a day or night dream, her familiar appeared before her, interrupting her private moment. "What is it? What did you find?" she asked in an almost irritated tone that even the bat caught. So wanting to get out of there, she reported her findings to him, and well, when she saw her target, she shot out of the tub, furious that those harlots were anywhere near her man. The bat made the smart decision and flew away from its owner. Before Camilla could get any more enraged, she learned a few things about her target. Night Shroud was the one who put him in the hospital. Her Duel Academy, Night, all sane Naruto and the girls were present in the shepherd's offices. "Good news, Chancellor. I searched the entire campus and there is no vampire," Chaz was informing the Chancellor, but was interrupted when Chumlee ran into the office and caught everyone's attention. "I saw her, she's in the lake," Chumlee said. "Chumlee, get the girls and meet us at the lake," Chaz ordered. "No, since he's Naruto, he's vulnerable. Having both Judai and Alexis stay with Naruto is the safest bet, so until Naruto gets Judai back, Alexis and Blair and Cyrus will stay to protect Naruto." "Chumlee, you're leaving too?" Shepard ordered. "Yes, sir," Chumlee said with a salute before leaving. Duel Academy Lake. Everyone present at Shepard's offices was at the lake to greet the Shadow Rider. When they arrived, they saw what looked like a red carpet spread out over the lake. "I think he's waiting for us," Bastion said. "At least it's the red carpet treatment," Growler added. "Crimson red, how appropriate," Zane finished. "Now what?" Bastion asked. "Now we face her," Zane said determinedly. "Yes, but who?" Chaz asked. Growler and Professor Banner were behind the students, but something caused Growler to stumble forward, making him the first to challenge the Shadow Rider. "Oh wow, you're so brave," Chaz said, amazed that his former teacher had the guts to volunteer to duel Shadow Rider. "We'll be right behind you," Bastion said. "Yes, by a good 10 feet, Professor Banner added. "Hey, I have an idea, let's draw lots to see who goes," Growler said, trying and failing to avoid having to duel the Shadow Rider. With Naruto and company, Chumlee burst into the infirmary. "Judai, Blair, Cyrus, Growler are going to duel the vampire lady. Great, he'll beat her easily, right?" Cyrus asked. Cyrus, Growler may talk tough, but his dueling skills are terrible," Alexis said. "Yes, that's why Chancellor Shepard said to stay here and protect Naruto until he's 100%, Chumlee said, trusting the Chancellor's orders. "And no," a weak voice caught their attention. They saw Naruto trying to get out of bed, but both Blair and Judai were preventing him from leaving. He didn't understand why the wound had healed, so why was he still in so much pain? Duel Academy Lake. Meanwhile, back at the lake, the group waited anxiously. At the edge of the lake, Growler waited for his vampiric opponent to appear. "So Growler, what's the delay?" Chaz asked. "If you're in such a hurry, why don't you go first?" he said, but was interrupted by a gust of wind that blew away the mist from the lake, revealing the Shadow Rider and all her beauty. As he looked at the crowd, he noticed that only the male spirit key holders were present, and those harlots were with their man. She seethed with rage, but business before pleasure, as they say. "Gentlemen, please, why don't I come over to you?" he said as he stepped out of his boat and onto the mat in the lake. She looked at her opponent, if you want to call him that, with disgust. "And who are you?" she asked with a groan of disgust. "I am your challenger," Growler said, barely a squeak. "I don't think so, but that will do, until the main event," Camilla thought as she looked at Zane, but her thoughts were on Naruto. "You're not worried?" was all Camilla said to anger the professor. "I beg your pardon, I have a doctorate in dueling who has been in dueling school for 9 years, you know," Growler finally yelled, broken. "Fine, if you're so eager to lose your key, then you can duel me, Camilla, the vampire lady of the Shadow Riders," she said with a mock bow as the bats came after her. "So, she's the vampire I need to get new horror movies," Professor Banner said, trying to lighten the already tense atmosphere. "Rubber bats, plastic fangs, your tricks don't scare me," Growler said, still not believing this woman was a vampire. Oh, this annoyed Camilla somewhat fiercely, but she kept her composure. "Well then if you lose, I'll get your soul, not me, but this will," she said as she took out a small doll figure. "You want to take his soul and his key?" Bastion asked in shock. "Forget it," Chaz agreed. "That's it, don't you want something for your mom? Or something for your pet werewolf to chew on?" Growler asked, trying to put on a brave face. "Be careful what you wish for," Camilla snarled, showing a toothy grin. Camilla vs. Growler, duel is canon. However, during the duel, Naruto, with the help of Chumli, Cyrus, Blair, Alexis, and Judai, arrived to support their teacher. When Camilla saw Naruto, she blushed, though it quickly faded when she saw those harpies surrounding her man. Oh, she wanted to get those harpies away from her man, but she was currently in the middle of a duel. However, her blush didn't go unnoticed by the girls as they raged at the sight of this vampiric hitch staring at their man, but quickly felt a ping of killing intent coming from said woman directed at them. Naruto noticed this as well, but he also noticed something else, something familiar: loneliness. She was alone. After Growler lost his duel to Camilla, not only did he lose his spirit key, but he trapped his soul in a doll, before throwing it away. Naruto growled at this, and his eyes changed from their usual cerulean blue to a crimson red with a black slit, and a blood-red aura began to leak out. This shocked everyone. "Girl, you'll pay for that," Naruto said in a threatening tone as he let out his bloodlust. Everyone in their right mind, Camilla, was now on the ground panting, trying to stay conscious as they had only seen this side of Naruto once, and that was during the promotional duel. But this was far more potent than the last time. Camilla smiled lustfully. "Yes, baby, that's the look I wanted to see, the look of a monster hiding in human form just like me," was all she said before disappearing. Naruto was surprised by this before her aura faded away. A monster hiding in human form, so both she and he were more alike than he realized at first, and when he looked into her eyes it confirmed his suspicions. She was alone. "And Naruto-kun!" A faint call of his name from Judai caught his attention. He turned to her, and saw a look that saddened him. A look of horror not only on her face, but on every face in the group. Naruto looked away. "I'm sorry, everyone," was all he said before the pain returned and made him fall. He closed his eyes, expecting to feel the cold, hard ground, but he was caught, which surprised him. He opened his eyes to see Alexis, Blair, and Judai saving him from falling to the ground. The expression on their faces wasn't one of horror, but of concern for him. He looked around to see everyone looking at him with concern for their friend, comrade, and student. Naruto finally couldn't hold back and let out the tears he had held back for so long since he came into this world. The next day, after Growler lost his duel with Camilla, which not only cost him his spirit key and his now trapped soul in a doll, but also an interesting revelation that there was more to Naruto than meets the eye. Naruto was now back in the infirmary bed. He looks at the ceiling. He hasn't said a word since he cried in the lake, which was a first because the whole time they knew him, he never cried. He was always a ray of sunshine, always smiling, so seeing him like this was almost unnatural, and that strange aura, those eyes, and that bloodlust. What was Naruto hiding? The girls had asked Maximilian, but all he said was that it was Naruto's secret, and he had no right to share it. Chaz was currently sitting in a chair next to Naruto looking at the doll that held Crowler's soul, now realizing this was serious. His attention was drawn away from the doll when he heard shuffling from the bed and saw Naruto sit up and begin to pull back his covers. "Hey, what do you think you're doing?" he asked, drawing the attention of everyone currently present. Naruto didn't say anything as he got out of bed and began dressing in his yellow RA uniform. "I'm leaving," was all he said. "Naruto and Nikki, are you crazy? You really need to rest," Saira said, trying to reason with Naruto. "Cyrus is right. We all really need to be at our best. It's our souls that will be sealed in those dolls, and our bodies will be catatonic." Professor Banner agreed with his student, but Naruto was having none of it. "No, I've rested enough," Naruto argued, grabbing his deck box. But then he felt something, a faint pulse. He looked at the half of the pendant he got from the gravediggers and noticed a glow coming from the unconscious Atticus. He walked over to the Elder Rhodes and saw the other half around his neck. "Alexis, I'm going to need that if I'm going to stand a chance against Camilla," he said, pointing to the other half of the pendant. Alexis wanted to argue about him leaving, but Naruto was just as stubborn as she was, if not more so, when it came to protecting his precious people. So, with a heavy heart, she took the other pendant from her brother and gave it to their shared boyfriend. "Come back to us, all right?" was all she asked. Naruto nodded. "It's the promise of a lifetime," was all he said before leaving. "Are you going to stop him?" Bastion asked. "No, just keep an eye on him and make sure he doesn't do anything reckless. Also, while I'm here, go have Judai and Blair keep an eye on him, while that vampire Hitch has been watching our man," she said, letting out her righteous feminist fury, scaring all the men in the room while Atticus, currently unconscious, all ran out of the room, causing Alexis to laugh. Meanwhile, Camilla was bathing, but her henchman was giving her information, and he didn't disappoint. "Yes, my man will arrive, and I will claim not only your key, but your body, mind, and soul," she said, recalling the look he gave her last night, the look of a beast ready to pounce. Just the look in those eyes made her hands sink into the waters and touch her special place, a place her man would ravage with bestial intent. "Soon, my love, soon," she moaned. Duel Academy Lake. Naruto stood at the edge of the lake where he could see Camilla Castle in the distance. He looked down to see the red carpet inviting him to cross. As he was about to take the first step, he stopped when he heard his name called. Naruto/Naruto-kun/Naruto-kun/Naruto Aniki. He turned to see everyone there. Everyone was all Naruto said, almost surprised to see them all here. "Naruto-kun, we're coming with you, whether you like it or not," Judai said, leaving almost no room for argument, causing the other to nod. Naruto looked at his girlfriends, his friends, and his teacher and saw that he wasn't going to get away from this, so he turned his head and smiled his signature smile. "All right, everyone," was all he said before leading the group across the lake to Camilla's castle. The group walked through the castle until they reached the Mai Hall where Camilla was waiting for them. "You finally made it, honey, and I see you brought those harlots with you," she growled with a grimace as she looked at the girl who growled at being insulted by the vampire Hitch. Before anyone could retort, Naruto raised his hand to calm the girls down, then he stepped forward. "Camilla, when you said monster hiding in human form, you weren't just saying that to annoy me," he said, causing her to flinch to get everyone's attention. Now she understood, so instead of saying anything else, he climbed the stairs to her level and activated his duel disc. Naruto vs. Camilla. Naruto, 4000. Camilla, 4000. "I'll start the duel if you don't mind a draw." Naruto then drew from his deck. "I activate the spell card, the Melody of the Dragon Awakening, and by discarding a card from my hand I can add up to 2 Dragon-type monsters with 3000 or more attack points, and 2500 or less defense points from my deck," he said as he discarded Bingo Machine Go, and added a Blue Eyes White Dragon and a Blue Eyes alternate White Dragon to his hand. This made Camilla grit her teeth as she heard that Naruto was a powerful duelist, but such a power play on the first turn was no good. But this was his love, and his love was a domineering presence. She couldn't help but blush. The girls couldn't help but growl at this as they released their own killing intent, which scared the men away from the girls not wanting to be caught. Meanwhile, back to the duel. "And by revealing a Blue Eyes White Dragon in my hand, I can special summon the alternate Blue Eyes White Dragon," he said, summoning his dragon. But before anyone could say anything, Naruto continued. "I then activate polymerization to fuse 2 Blue Eyes in my hand with the Blue Eyes alternate on the field to create a new engine of destruction that appears in the fusion summon Blue Eyes alternate Ultimate Dragon, LVL 12, Attribute Light, Dragon Fusion Effect. Blue Eyes White Dragon, plus, Blue Eyes White Dragon, plus, Blue Eyes White Dragon. Your opponent cannot target or destroy this card with card effects. Once per turn, you can target one card your opponent controls, destroy it. If this card was fusion summoned using a monster whose original name is Blue Eyes Alternate White Dragon. As material, you can target up to 3 cards your opponent controls instead. This card cannot attack the turn this effect activates. ATK/4500 Def/3800. Then, the dragon roared with a mighty roar that shook the castle itself, nearly causing it to collapse. Wow, what a way to start the duel! Cyrus barely said, hiding behind his brother, completely scared by the new monster that his Aniki summoned. Yeah, Naruto really wants to get this over with, and I've never seen that monster before, so I don't know what the effects are, Bastion said, acknowledging the group. The girl looked at her man, hoping he'd pull through. That may be a new monster, but Camilla still wouldn't do it, Ches said, doubting Naruto's chances of winning, but hid behind Professor Banner when the girl growled at him, sending him with killing intent. My turn is over, it's your move, Camilla, said Naruto, ending his turn. Okay honey, if you insist, she said as she took out her card and smiled. I play Illusion Gate, normal spell card. Destroy all monsters on your opponent's side of the field. Then, target one monster in your opponent's graveyard and special summon it to your side of the field, ignoring the summoning conditions. At the end of this turn, your life points are reduced by 90%. With the card, all monsters are destroyed, then I can bring back any monsters you played and all it'll cost me is a soul, and I think I'll start with the souls of those harlots, so your dragon will be destroyed, she said as the mirror gates opened ready to absorb the souls of Naruto's friends. But the two halves of Naruto's shadow pendant joined together and pushed the dark aura of the gate back. But what shocked them the most was when they saw Naruto's dragon was still standing. What's going on? Why wasn't your dragon destroyed? Camula is surprised that the mirror couldn't destroy Naruto's monster. Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon cannot be attacked or destroyed by my opponent's card effects, so your Illusion Gate S effect is negated, Naruto said as his dragon roared. Oh, now she was trapped. Camilla was caught between a rock and a hard place because Naruto's shadow pendant delayed the effects of her shadow charm, and with that monster being immune to card effects, her Illusion Gate was useless. Camilla looked into Naruto's eyes and he looked into hers. The two saw memories of the pain and suffering they endured, the cruelty they had endured at the hands of those who hunted them and treated them like animals. But where Naruto saw only darkness in Camilla, she saw a light in Naruto, a light she craved so much. She wanted that. She needed that, and Naruto could see it. Then Naruto did something that surprised everyone. He tilted his head so his hair could cover his eyes and lowered his arms as if he were a child ready to be punished. Judai-chan, Blair-chan, Alexis-chan, he said, getting her attention. Hi, Judai asked about them. Do you love me? He asked. This made them wonder what he meant by. Of course, why not? Will you love me even if I'm not fully human? He asked. Now this caught her attention. Naruto-kun, we will always love you, the three said in unison, since the boys felt really uncomfortable about being the extra wheel. Naruto was then bathed in a glow of golden light, and when the glow faded, Naruto was relatively the same, except for the 10 silver tails, wolf ears, and more prominent whisker marks on his face. Everyone, even Camilla, was shocked. Naruto expected the screams of horror, the screams of hatred, but instead what he got was, Kawaii, Nani, look at these fluffy tails, Judai said as he stroked Naruto's tails, causing Naruto to blush furiously as they were very sensitive. These ears are so cute, Blair added, stroking Naruto's wolf ears. The whisker marks make him look adorable, she said, stroking his cheeks, making him purr, causing them to stop and look at him. Heck, even their dragon did the same. Did he really purr? Naruto then turned to the men in the group and unleashed a mountain of killing intent. You didn't see or hear anything, he said, needing to protect his male pride. Camilla cleared her throat, getting everyone's attention. Not that I care whatever it is, but, she said, giving Naruto a very lustful look that made the girls snarl. But Naruto gave them a look that calmed them down even though they didn't like it. Camilla, let's continue with the duel, was all he said, now knowing what he had to do. Okay, baby, I'll summon zombie werewolf and end my turn, she said, knowing what Naruto has in store for her. Alright Camilla, here I go, Naruto said as he drew his next card. I activate Pot of Greed and add 2 additional cards from my deck, Naruto said as he did the card effect. Then I activate diffusion and split my dragon into the 3 dragons that were used to make it," Naruto announced as the Blue Eyes Alternative Ultimate Dragon disappeared and in its place appeared 2 Blue Eyes White Dragons and 1 Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon. This caught everyone's attention. "I don't understand, why did he do that?" Cyrus asked. "He plans to sacrifice them to summon one of them," Zane said, eagerly waiting to see one of the legendary god cards being played. "You mean he's going to summon one of the 3 Egyptian god monsters?" Bastion asked. Naruto then started to glow with a golden aura and started chanting, "Almighty protector of the sun and sky, I beg you, please hear my cry. Transform from the orb of light and bring me victory in this fight. I beg you, grace our humble game, but first I will call out your name, Winged Dragon of Ra." Naruto finished as the 3 dragons were enveloped in a golden aura and a giant golden sphere appeared above their head. Then the sphere started to take the form of a dragon. "The Winged Dragon of Ra has been summoned. The strongest of the 3 Egyptian monster gods has graced this shadow play with his presence. The Winged Dragon of Ra, level 10, Divine Attribute, Divine Beast/Effect. This card cannot be set. This card can only be tribute summoned by tributing 3 monsters. This card's normal summon cannot be negated. When this card is normal summoned, spells, traps, and the effects of other monsters cannot be activated. While this card is on the field, this card's summon cannot be negated. Control of this card cannot change, and it is not affected by the effects of spell cards, trap cards, and other monsters. Your opponent cannot tribute this card. When this card is special summoned from the graveyard, it is sent to the graveyard during the end phase. If this card is special summoned, destroy all cards your opponents control. This card can always attack during the turn it is summoned. This card's ATK and def are equal to the ATK and combined def of the tribute monsters to summon it, respectively. You can pay 1,000 life points to destroy all monsters your opponent controls. When this card is a special summon, you can use these effects. You can tribute monsters to increase this card's ATK by the ATK of the tribute monsters. You can pay any amount of life points to increase this card's ATK by the amount of life points paid. This card can attack directly. If you use this effect, you can send a diffusion in your hand or under your control to the graveyard to reduce this card's ATK to 0 and increase your life points by this card's previous ATK that also negated the attack. During either player's turn, you can pay 1,000 life points and immediately transform the Winged Dragon of Ra into its Phoenix mode. Until the end of the turn this effect is activated, this card's ATK and def are reduced to 0. This card's ATK and def return to their respective values before this effect was used, and it gains the following effects. This card cannot be destroyed by battle, and you take no battle damage from battles involving this card. This card cannot be targeted and is unaffected by the effects of other monsters, spells, and traps. The effect of the Winged Dragon of Ra only affects this card for 1 turn. ATK/9,000 currently, def/7,500 currently, and I am giving this monster. Seeing Ra's yellow dorm symbol in all its majesty was truly impressive but also terrifying, as seeing the strongest of the 3 god cards actually makes them grateful that Naruto is their ally and not their enemy. Could they imagine him as a shadow rider? The mere thought sent chills down everyone's spine. Naruto looked at Ra and said as the monsters looked at his summon, knowing what he was asking for, and nodded slightly. "Now that I have summoned the Winged Dragon of Ra, all other card effects are negated, meaning your illusion gate cannot be activated. Camouflage if you wish to belong, then become mine," he said without gesturing, receiving a serious blush from said woman and glares from the girls behind him, and jealous glares from the sane boys Sane and Professor Banner. "Oh God, aren't you being the alpha?" she asked in a lustful tone while holding back her blush. Before the girls could say anything, Camilla complied, making them even angrier. "Go Ra, end this duel, God Blaze Cannon!" Naruto ordered. Ra's jaws opened wide and launched a blast as hot as the sun towards Camilla, ending the duel, and the entire area was bathed in blinding light. Camilla, 9,000 minus 4,000 is equal to 0. Winner Naruto. Day after, Naruto had won his duel against Camilla and freed Dr. Growler's soul from the doll it was trapped in, though he had to be questioned about his appearance before Chancellor Shepard since he kept it from everyone. But to be fair, he kept it from his adoptive father until he could trust him enough with the truth of not only form but his true origins that shocked everyone. A ninja from another dimension who ended a world war only to be sucked into a portal after fighting to the death with his former best friend for the peace of the world they fought so hard to achieve. Now he was stranded here never to return, but he was happy with his new life. Having his goofy but wonderful adoptive father Maximilian Pegasus and all his great friends and family here, he wouldn't trade it for anything. Now we find Naruto sleeping in his shared dorm room with Judai on his left and Blair on his right, and something strange. A very strange feeling, wet, and he was rocking. He quickly opened his eyes and pulled back the covers to see a very naked Camula giving him morning service. The girls on his side woke up at their lover's sudden action just to see why, and boy were they angry. "Good morning, honey," Camula said after a sucking sound. "What the buck are you doing, Hitch?" questioned a now angry Judai, because not only was this vampire Hitch sucking his man off, but the fact that it wasn't her, right? That was a huge blow to his pride. "Staking my claim as the alpha female, for you lesser females," Camula said, showing off her impressive DD breasts, putting both Judai's high C breasts and Blair's C breasts to shame. As this was going on, Naruto did the smart thing and silently rolled out of bed and into the bathroom, but not before looking back and smiling at those who had taken it in for him, though he knew that Night Shroud and Camula were just the beginning of this, and whoever was sending these Shadow Riders was more than likely going to keep the strongest duelist for last, which worried the blonde.
Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.